Hey guys, welcome back. This is Snazzy UA all-time favorite. Today we are gonna see what if Goku alien paradox, so let's move on to the video. Universe 7, the North Galaxy, age 756, somewhere close to the planet Earth, a massive ship traveled through outer space at a slow, yet steady speed. It was triangular in shape and was coated yellow with black stripes that were strangely reminiscent of a tiger. A red dome was also positioned at the top, most likely serving as a cockpit for this interstellar vehicle's pilots and passengers. These passengers in question were part of one specific race, the Oni. Similar to the mythological creature of the same name, these aliens were known for their yellow horns and sharp, pointy teeth. They also had green hair, the ability to fly, and, most interestingly enough, the power to manipulate electricity through their fingertips. Some were even capable of different powers altogether, including metamorphosis and breathing fire. However, at the moment, there were only two Oni in this particular vessel. One was a heavy-set, muscular man with short green hair and two canines that stuck out of his lower jaw. He wore a yellow jumpsuit with black stripes akin to the very ship he inhabited as well. Standing at an unbelievably impressive height, this man was known as Mr. Invader, the current ruler of planet Oni. Welp, there it is, Lum. Planet Earth. He pointed out to the other Oni on board. Lum Invader, the princess of planet Oni, was a voluptuous 17-year-old girl with long green hair and a pair of small horns that were slightly concealed by her bangs. Unlike her father, she had sparkling blue eyes and wore a much more revealing yellow bikini with black stripes. She also wore a similar pair of thigh-length boots to match. Lum batted her eyelashes, taking a closer look at Earth from the glass. She didn't look all that impressed. Are you sure going to this planet is a good idea, Daddy? It doesn't seem all that interesting to me. Don't be so picky. In these times, any planet is worth the possibility of being invaded. I mean, who knows? Maybe some Earthling will be able to impress you during their potential duel against you. Lum slightly giggled. I doubt it. I still haven't been beaten yet, remember? I know, dear. That's why this next invasion could go either way. Mr. Invader nodded his head. He then placed the ship in park above Earth's upper atmosphere. Afterwards, the Oni typed some commands into a keyboard and activated the ship's central computer. Identify Earth's leading politician or ruler, please, he ordered. Scanning the computer proceeded to perform a concise scan on the planet's entire population. It cycled through millions upon billions of different faces until one was selected. It was King Furry, an old blue dog with glasses and a white mustache. Identified, King Furry. He has been the king of Earth since the year, age 733, the computer informed. The ruler of this planet is a dog man. Teehee, that's certainly strange. Lum chuckled amusedly. Well, dogs are fiercely loyal creatures. This furry man could be the same way. Mr. Invader presumed. Suppose there's only way to find out, though. He then stood in the center of the room and prepared to transport himself directly to Earth. Stay up here, Lum. I'll call you once your challenger is selected. Okay, Daddy. See you then, Lum said. With that, Mr. Invader instantaneously disappeared in a flash of yellow lightning. Lum then sighed and crossed her arms, pouting. HMPH. Earth's so-called champion better be someone interesting, Lum mentally hoped. She took one last look at the oceanic planet before floating to another part of the ship. Earth, King Castle, age 756. King Furry's castle resided somewhere in the middle of Central City. Guarded head to toe by an army of soldiers, it was a white tower with gold and blue bands that wrapped around each floor. A white antenna also stuck out of the tower's blue roof, while two smaller buildings were constructed on both sides. A garden filled to the brim with green trees could also be seen in front of the facility's main entrance. Inside, King Furry was busy filing piles upon piles of paperwork. He was guarded by two of his many soldiers, both of which were wearing orange uniforms with blue sleeves. Both of their outfits were marked with the symbol KG, an acronym that stood for the King's Guards. Great. At this rate, I'll be looking over these confounded documents until nightfall, King Furry grumbled. He glanced at the large stack of papers still yet to be looked over, grimacing. As if it couldn't get any better than this, he snorted sarcastically. All of a sudden, a lightning bolt struck King Castle's antenna and shook the entire building from side to side. King Furry was flung out of his chair, sending papers flying in all sorts of directions. What in Kami's name? Furry gasped. Before his very eyes, lightning burst through the ceiling and dropped off an abnormally large man in its wake. The dog-human hybrid was stunned by this spectacle. He was even more stunned by the two horns standing atop the man's head. "An Oni," he muttered in semi-recognition. Before the strange visitor could introduce himself, Furry's two guards stood in front of him and brought out their weapons. "Step away from the king, monster," one of them screamed. Mr. Invader looked more confused than threatened. He could already tell these supposed weapons were much weaker than laser rifles used by the average Freezer Force soldier back home. Regardless, he thought it'd be best to humor them for the moment and hold up his hands in surrender. "No need to be hostile, King Furry. I come in peace," Mr. Invader insisted. "Liar. You call that kind of insane entrance peaceful?" The other soldier snorted in disbelief. He gestured to the massive hole in the ceiling, much to Mr. Invader's confusion. "Why yes, actually. Was there something wrong with it?" he asked obliviously. The two soldiers glanced at one another in puzzlement. Was he mocking him, or did he really just say that? "Lower your weapons, men. Let the man speak," King Furry commanded. The two begrudgingly did as they were told and put away their guns. "Take a seat, if you can," King Furry choked out. While he went back to his desk, Mr. Invader crossed his legs and sat down on the floor. His head was fairly close to hitting the ceiling, even when crouched down. King Furry cleared his throat and glared up at the extraterrestrials standing before him. He hadn't felt this nervous since his first encounter with Demon King Piccolo 3 years prior. "Now, let us set the record straight. Who are you and how do you know my name?" he asked. "The name's Invader. I am the king of a planet called Oni in the South Galaxy. Nice to meet ya." Mr. Invader introduced himself with a warm smile. He then gave King Furry his business card. Furry raised an eyebrow at the card. All it had was a chibi version of Mr. Invader popping out of a green and yellow star. "South Galaxy, you say?" "Yep, that's right. Traveling between galaxies takes quite a bit of time," Mr. Invader replied enthusiastically. "And as for your second question, I had my ship's computer identify the leader of this planet, and obviously, that turned out to be you. I always like to talk with a planet's leaders peacefully before I go about invading it. It's a more diplomatic approach that way, you know." I suppose that's a fair way to go about our deed. Did you just say you were here to invade the Earth?" King Furry gulped. Mr. Invader narrowed his eyes. "That's why I am here, yes. Us only try to ingratiate as many planets into our cause as possible. Mostly to better appease Emperor Freezer, but you don't need to hear about that little our predicament." Emperor Freezer, King Furry whispered to himself. He already could tell that this emperor was a big deal just by the tone from which Mr. Invader said his name. He had an ever so slight twinge of fear in his voice that, admittedly, came off as a bit unnerving. It reminded him of how King Piccolo used to be treated across the globe. However, Mr. Invader raised one of his fingers. "Don't assume that I am some type of cruel, ruthless conqueror or anything of the sort. I always make sure to give any race a fair chance to fight for the ownership of their planet. You Earthlings should be no different." "A chance to fight, huh? Care to elaborate?" King Furry asked. "You will select a person on this planet to face my daughter, Lum, in a game of tag. They'll have about a week to grab her horns, so if they fail do so within that time limit, Earth officially belongs to me. But if they do succeed, my people and I will go back home without another world." Mr. Invader explained how his people handled planetary invasions. "Sound like a good deal?" King Furry paused for a moment. A week was a fairly long time for a simple game of tag, so Mr. Invader's terms didn't sound bad at all. However, a part of him couldn't help but wonder if there was a catch to all of this. After all, Invader did emerge from a literal flash of lightning, so the Oni race must have supernatural abilities far beyond that of a normal human. Thankfully, Furry was quite familiar with a select few individuals who soared past the limitations of mankind many years ago, and one of them was Earth's sworn protector, Son Goku. Trying his best not to smirk, King Furry held out his hand. Yes, you've got yourself a deal, Mr. Invader. Glad we've come to an understanding. Hee. Mr. Invader chuckled while returning the handshake. Would you mind waiting here while my soldiers fetch the person I wish to play this game? I already have someone specific in mind, King Furry requested. Mr. Invader casually waved his hand. Not at all, not at all. Not sure how my daughter will take it, but I'll be patient. Thank you. This shouldn't take long, I am sure. He politely bowed to Mr. Invader and then ran over to his two guards. He leaned closer to them with a determined expression on his face. Make your way over to Mount Powju, immediately. I wish to speak with the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament champion, Son Goku, in private. The two soldiers gave their leader an affirmative salute. On it, sire. We won't let you down. They then took it upon themselves to avoid Mr. Invader and ran toward one of their military-grade hovercrafts. King Furry sat back down, reminiscing about the last time he saw the happy-go-lucky martial artist. Based on what he heard, Goku's opponent at the tournament was apparently King Piccolo's son of all people. He couldn't help but feel amazed that Goku was able to defeat him just as efficiently as before. I wonder, what have you been up to since then, Goku? He wondered. Earth, Mount Powju, age 756. Within a forested area near Mount Powju, Goku was standing relatively close to his late grandfather's house. Standing at a height of 5'9", the muscular 19-year-old was wearing an orange GI with a black undershirt and blue wristbands. This GI was tied down by a black sash while blue and yellow boots covered his pant legs. These boots had their own set of red shoelaces that kept them bound together in a somewhat similar fashion. Additionally, Goku's head of spiky, gravity-defying black hair was just as prominent as always. He looked a bit nervous and anxious, but continued to stand in place, nonetheless. This was mainly done to please his new fiancée, Chi-Chi, a young girl who was absolutely starstruck by the mere mention of their upcoming marriage. About a year younger than Goku, she had long, black hair that was tied down into a ponytail using a red band. She wore a blue dress with red pants, red and white boots, and red wristbands that extended just a tad bit further than Goku's. Said dress was also bound together by a red sash located just above her waist. Chi-Chi had a wide, enthusiastic grin on her face as she planned out the location of her and Goku's new house. She had already suggested that her father, the Ox King, build them one as a wedding present. Oh, Goku. Isn't he this romantic? Soon, we'll have our own place to live and do as we please in. I am just so excited. Chi-Chi lovingly beamed. Goku scratched the back of his head in uncertainty. I guess, sir, but shouldn't we slow down a bit, Chi-Chi? We just got engaged about a week ago. We're not even officially married yet. Chi-Chi crossed her arms and frowned. She had to admit that Goku did make a reasonable point there, but regardless of how sudden their relationship truly was, Chi-Chi felt eager enough to pursue this marriage anyway. A promise was a promise, after all, even if Goku did mistake marriage for food at first. Emphasis on yet, dear. In my eyes, it's better to plan these things out ahead of time. That way, we'll actually have a place to spend our honeymoon after the wedding is over, she replied. Honeymoon? Is that actually made of honey or is it something else? Goku asked, letting the sensation of hunger overtake his mind once again. Chi-Chi rolled her eyes and sighed. Despite being in peak physical condition, Goku definitely had a long way to go in terms of enhancing his intelligence. Ugh, you can be so clueless sometimes, she grumbled. Chi-Chi then leaned forward and gave him a loving kiss on the cheek. But that's what I love about you. Hey, thanks I think. Goku chuckled. He lightly rubbed the spot where Chi-Chi kissed him. Now, just stay put for a moment. I am going to plan out the exact size our house should be, Chi-Chi said. All right. If you say so. Goku begrudgingly shrugged. He was hoping he'd have some time to train for his next fight with Piccolo, but apparently, that would have to wait. Pleased with this response, Chi-Chi turned around and began to draw lines in the ground with a tape measure, where she even got that was unknown to Goku. Bored and still hungry, Goku plopped himself down on the ground and tried to pass the time through meditation. He closed his eyes, mentally projecting a battle between himself and his former enemies. However, unbeknownst to Goku, he was being watched by King Furry's guards through a pair of binoculars. Their black hovercraft was hidden between some trees and stalks of bamboo. "Yep. That's Son Goku, all right," one of the soldiers said. He was both bigger and more muscular in size compared to his partner. "All right then. Let us grab him and get this over with," the other soldier barked. He was an elderly with an athletic and grey hair to match his bushy moustache, though it still wasn't as large and impressive as King Furry's. The hovercraft rocketed toward Goku at insanely high speeds. It abruptly stopped in beside Goku, who was too preoccupied with his image training to notice. Just as he began to open his eyes, the heavy guard grabbed him by the shoulders and roughly threw him into the backseat without so much as a peep. The other soldier then stepped on the gas and immediately propelled their military vehicle into the sky. Within seconds, they were gone. Surprisingly, Chi-Chi didn't hear any of this taking place. She just merrily hummed while continuing to measure the width and length of her self-declared dream home. Once she finished, the Princess of Fire Mountain clapped her hands together in satisfaction. "That should be good enough. What do you think, Gok?" Chi-Chi was confused to see that he wasn't there anymore. She blinked a few times and looked around the area. "Goku?" she asked, trying to figure out where he could have gone. Then, she remembered that Goku could fly and thus assumed that he was off training somewhere. This did not make her happy in the slightest. "Grrgh, that idiot!" Chi-Chi screamed angrily. Getting more furious by the second, she bared her teeth and looked up at the sky. She managed to spot the likeness of a black hovercraft flying away in the distance. "HMPH, you're going to have to do better than that to hide from me, mister," she snorted. Afterwards, she squatted down and cupped both hands around her mouth. Flying Nimbus. Upon command, a golden cloud flew from the sky and perched itself in front of Chi-Chi. Now that she was Goku's fiancé, the flying Nimbus technically belonged to both of them in a sense. She hopped on board the cloud and, due to her pure heart, was able to stand on it without falling. After that car, Nimbus. Nimbus then trailed after the hovercraft with her annoyed Chi-Chi in tow. Inside of the KG vehicle. After fully opening his eyes, Goku had no clue where he was. He could tell it was some car of sorts, but that didn't begin to calm him down by any means. The martial artist could only dart his eyes from left to right in obliviousness. "Huh? How did I even get here?" Goku asked. He then saw two men, one seated next to him in the backseat and another driving the car. "And who are you guys supposed to be?" "Don't be alarmed, son Goku. Both of us are soldiers who work with King Furry. He ordered that we bring you to his castle in Central City by any means necessary," the elderly soldier assured. "King Furry? You mean that old dog guy King Piccolo tried to kill?" Goku recalled. "The very same, yeah. You've earned quite a bit of his respect after managing to defeat that monster. And the whole world respects you for saving it as well, I am sure," the bigger soldier assumed. "Hey, that's cool and all, but I don't really need anyone's respect or praise for doing that. I just like to fight strong opponents and help people while doing it. Well, regardless, I appreciate you for protecting this world, even if it wasn't your sole intention." The elderly guard nodded his head. "But now, King Furry needs your help to save the Earth once again." "Wait, seriously? Is something bad going to happen?" Goku asked in curiosity. "You'll find out soon enough. We're almost there," the old guard informed. Central City was currently visible through the windshield, so this was, indeed, accurate. Goku, although curious by what he meant, thought it best to remain seated and wait. Unfortunately, he remembered something that could make this wait much more intense. "Oh, crap. I almost forgot," he cried. What? What's wrong?" the heavy soldier stammered. "My fiancée, Chi-Chi. She's going to be absolutely pissed when she realizes that I am gone. Goku shuddered in fear. But the fate of the entire planet is at stake. Won't she be able to understand that? I guess, but you didn't tell her any of that. So she's going to assume that I just walked off and… Goku. The trio looked through the back window to see a furious Chi-Chi flying on top of Nimbus. She was getting closer and closer at a ridiculously quick pace, much to Goku's disbelief. She got Nimbus involved in all of this. He muttered under his breath. Get your inconsiderate butt back here this instant. Chi-Chi growled at the top of her lungs. Panicking, Goku jumped out of his seat and stood up next to the old soldier. Step on it, old guy. She's catching up fast, he yelped. I can tell. This is the highest speed it can reach, the old soldier shouted back. Oh, come on. There has to be something you can do. How about you turn the steering wheel like this to throw her off? Goku ignorantly suggested. He then grabbed a hold of the wheel and spun it around with far more strength than necessary. This caused the vehicle to spin out of control, rather than actually turn. The larger guard widened his eyes. Wait, don't turn the wheel that hard, you moron. You're going to. Goku suddenly broke off the entire steering wheel with his own hands. Oops. To everyone's horror, the car began to drop out of the sky and crash into King Furry's palace. The two guards hung on for dear life, while Goku tried to find a way out of this. Hit the brakes. Hit the brakes. Hit the brakes, the bigger soldier cried out. Brakes aren't going to help when we're falling out of the damned sky, dumbass. The old soldier fumed. The two then glanced down at King Castle below and completely lost their composure. Ah! They screamed in unison. Realizing that they were only a few seconds away from crashing, Goku took a deep breath and focused his ki. He then punched through the windshield, effortlessly grabbed both soldiers, and flew out. Meanwhile, Chi-Chi continued to be blinded by her own rage until she saw Goku and two men leaving the black gold car. Gragh, wait, what's going on right now? She muttered under her breath. Her jaw then dropped once she saw the car going on a full-on collision course with King Furry's home. Oh, Goku gulped as he held both soldiers in his hands. He then flew down to make sure King Furry was spared from the fiery crash. Back in King Castle. While waiting for Goku to arrive, King Furry and Mr. Invader spent some time talking amongst themselves. It started out as incredibly awkward, but over time, both leaders found that they had a lot in common with one another. It appeared that all kings, whether anthropomorphic or extraterrestrial in nature, went through fairly similar issues and experiences. Do you have any children, Furry? Mr. Invader politely asked. A few, but they've grown up and moved on with their lives. Ever since my wife died, it has just been me ruling over the entire world for well who knows how long at this point. Furry somberly informed. He didn't like to admit it, but being the king of an entire planet could get lonely at times. Ah, my condolences. I don't know what I'd do without my wife. Not to sound cliché, but she is definitely the light of my life and then some. Mr. Invader hopelessly gushed about his queen. As was mine back in the day. Ho ho. King Furry chuckled whilst taking a small sip of tea. Now, your daughter, you said that her name was Lum, correct? That's right. Lum might be 17 now, but she'll always be my little girl. After all, she is my only child, so she'll eventually need to take up the throne one day. King Furry cleared his throat. Ahem. That's all well and good, I guess, but out of curiosity, how strong would you say she is? He had a more serious expression on his face in that moment. Furry already knew this girl was nowhere near as powerful as Goku, but in this situation, it was better to be safe than sorry. How strong? Well, if I were to guess, I'd say. Their conversation was interrupted by a black hovercraft smashing straight through the castle's ceiling. It was spinning around and slamming into any piece of the walls it could come in contact with. What the hell? King Furry gasped. As he ducked for cover behind Mr. Invader's body, Goku speedily flew through the hole in the castle's front walls, dropped off the two soldiers, and outstretched his hand. Gragh! Goku shouted. Using his ki, he projected a gust of wind that repelled the hovercraft back outside. It spun around backward, soaring away from King Castle and practically touching the clouds above. Mr. Invader looked upon this technique in awe. He used his own energy to prevent that vehicle from crashing. Interesting. To top it all off, Goku continued to glare at the hovercraft as it became less visible in the sky. He then clenched his outstretched hand into a fist. "Hyah!" he screamed. The car then exploded in a flash of yellow light, causing millions of pieces to descend in various directions. All that was left of the military craft was a pillar of black smoke and fire, nothing else. Everyone, especially Mr. Invader, were amazed by Goku's advanced control of his own energy. He just saved all their lives. It had seemed like just an everyday stroll through the park for him. "Damn. I really liked that car too." The old soldier fell to his knees in disappointment. Goku wiped some sweat off his brow and smiled. "Phew. Good thing I was able to stop that in time. You guys, okay?" King Furry brushed some excess dust off his pants and stood up straight. "We're more than okay, Goku. Thank you for saving our lives once again." "No problem. I was the one who kind of caused it, so it's the least I can do." Goku smiled absent-mindedly. He then jerked a thumb at the two soldiers who brought him here. "So those two guys mentioned that you wanted me to help save the world or something. Is that true?" "It is, indeed, true, my boy. The Earth is under the threat of being invaded by this man over here," King Furry affirmed. "Ha!" Furry then pointed up at Mr. Invader. A person from which Goku just noticed was even there. He mistook him for some kind of large pillar at first glance. "Whoa, you look even bigger than Ox King." Goku whistled in astoundment. "Not sure who this King of Oxen is, but I'll take it as a compliment." Mr. Invader laughed. He held out his large hand for Goku to shake. "The name's Mr. Invader, son. Nice to finally meet ya." Goku returned the handshake. Sure thing. My name's Goku, sir." During this greeting, Goku sensed some of the Oni's ki to determine how powerful he was. It seems a lot lower than mine and Piccolo's. Maybe he could be suppressing his true power. He then let go of the monarch's hand. Although Mr. Invader had a calm look on his face, he, in actuality, felt that there was something familiar about Goku. Something about his black, spiky hair reminded him of a particular alien race from the past, but he wasn't entirely certain. His suspicions would need to be confirmed during the boy's game of tag with Lum. "Oh, I know. Furry here's told me a lot about your past encounters with the Red Ribbon Army and Demon King Piccolo. You seem to be quite the talented warrior for someone your age." Mr. Invader commended Goku on his various accomplishments. Piccolo seemed to vaguely resemble that of a Namekian from what he heard, but he didn't bother mentioning that detail. All he needed to know was that Earth did, in fact, have encounters with alien species other than his own. The question was, how many? Goku simply smirked. "Are you planning to fight me too? 'Cause if so, I'd be more than happy to take you on." "Absolutely not." Goku spun around to see Chi-Chi flying into the building on Nimbus. She leapt off the magical cloud and stomped over to Goku in an angry fashion. "Gah! See Chi-Chi, I can explain. These guys took me by surprise and—" Chi-Chi abruptly pulled him into a tight embrace and with tears in her eyes. Her arms were beginning to crush his body from the firm squeeze alone. "Oh, Goku. I was so worried," Chi-Chi tearfully proclaimed. She inspected Goku's body for injuries. "Are you okay? You're not hurt, are you?" Worried? What are you talking about, Chi? That big crash, silly. I saw you stop the car just before it hit the ground. That couldn't have been easy." Goku shrugged with little concern. "Nah, I am fine. I just knocked it away with my hand and blew it up. It was no biggie, really." "Well, you still shouldn't get yourself caught up with such a reckless situation. That's why you shouldn't waste your time fighting whoever this thing is." Chi-Chi accusatively glared at the Oni. Mr. Invader slightly deflated at Chi-Chi's aggressive attitude. This thing has a name, you know. It's Invader. TCH. I don't really care who you are. Anyone who messes with my Goku will have to deal with me first." Chi-Chi growled as she positioned herself into a fighting stance. Mr. Invader immediately raised his hands up in surrender. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down a bit, miss. I have no intention of fighting your fiancé. Chi-Chi sniffed. Right. I have no intention of fighting your fiancé, Goku, in a one-on-one battle. That's not the reason King Furry brought you here. You don't Goku and Chi-Chi asked in unison. Goku's tone was comparatively more disappointed than Chi-Chi's. Not at all. Even I am smart enough to realize that a fighter of Goku's caliber would defeat me easily. Mr. Invader acknowledged in slight embarrassment. No, what I wish to do is have you decide the fate of your planet through a 1-week-long game of tag. Chi-Chi deadpanned. Tag? You joking? Yes, not, my dear. Once Goku grabs the horns of his opponent, Mr. Invader and his army will leave the planet quietly. It's as simple as it sounds, King Furry explained. Goku lightly stroked his chin in befuddlement. Then, all I have to do is grab your horns and I win. Oh no, I am not the person you'll be chasing. I have someone else in mind for your opponent. Mr. Invader corrected him. As if on cue, the building began to lightly shake to and fro. Ah, perfect timing. She's coming in right now. Goku asked. Before their very eyes, the clouds in the sky turned dark purple and swirled around each other. From the center, Mr. Invader's spaceship emerged via a faint glow of yellow light. Lightning struck throughout the sky as it stood directly above Central City and King Furry's palace. As with Mr. Invader's first arrival, a much larger thunderbolt was shot from the bottom of the ship. It hit the center of the room, sending King Furry, Chi-Chi, and the two soldiers flying. Goku, on the other hand, managed to stand perfectly in place for the most part. That is, until Chi-Chi clung onto his body to stop herself from moving any further. Gah! She squeaked. She wrapped her arms around Goku's neck, causing him to almost fall flat on his back. Oomph! Simmer down, Chi-Chi. It's only a little lightning, he exclaimed. Goku then gently set Chi-Chi back on the ground. He looked up to see a young girl with green hair materialize from the lightning in a flash of green energy. Sorry to keep you waiting. I am your opponent, Lum. The Oni princess introduced herself. She placed one hand on her hip and suggestively winked at Goku. Chi-Chi, noticing that Lum was wearing nothing but a tiger fur bikini, practically shook with rage. Oh, like hell she is. She mentally glowered. Goku, on the other hand, didn't care much about Lum's appearance and just acted like his usual self. Hey. I am Son Goku, or Goku for short, he replied. Who knew the one challenging me would be so handsome? Lum thought. She glanced from head to toe at Goku's muscular build and lightly blushed. Hiya, Goku. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. She beamed. She batted her eyelashes, which proceeded to confuse Goku even more. She's my daughter, in case you wondering. You just have to grab her cute little horns and you'll win the game. Though, she isn't one to be underestimated, so be careful, Mr. Invader explained. Teehee. Yes, right. I am not all that easy to catch. Lum giggled. She then snaked her hands around Goku's arm. But to try to be gentle with me during the match, K. Chi-Chi narrowed her eyes and lightly shoved Lum away from Goku. This action caught King Furry and his men completely off guard. Back up, sister. I am Goku's fiancé, so hands off, Chi-Chi grunted. Lum didn't look all that convinced. TSK. I don't see your name on him. How about you learn some manners, old lady? Lum scoffed with a smug look on her face. Old lady. GRRGH. That's it. You asking for it, brat? Chi-Chi's key skyrocketed as she balled her fists and prepared to pounce on Lum. I'll finish this stupid game of tag right here and now. Hold her down, men. Hold her down. King Furry hurriedly ordered. The two soldiers grabbed Chi-Chi's arms and held her back with immense difficulty. Let me go. That witch needs to be taught a lesson about public decency and... King Furry placed a hand over Chi-Chi's mouth to keep her quiet. Sorry about that, guys. Chi-Chi can have a pretty bad temper sometimes. Goku nervously scratched the back of his head. No worries, my boy. Lum instigated your lady friend a bit too, so it's not entirely her fault. Mr. Invader assured him. He then gave Lum a stern glare, much to her annoyance. She stuck up her nose and looked away. Where would you like the game to be held, King Furry? Holding it here in Central City should suffice. I'll personally announce it to the rest of the world on TV and make this a public event. That shouldn't take too long. Good, good. Lum should be able to wait a little bit until then. Right, sweetie? Mr. Invader asked. Lum looked somewhat disappointed but changed her tune once she snuck a peek at Goku's face. Yeah, I guess that's okay with me. Lum sighed with a slight shrug of her shoulders. Don't disappoint me, Goku. I have high expectations for you. Same with you, Lum. Let us make this a fair match. Goku gave her a challenging smirk. Lum just winked him at again and walked off with her father. For a second, Goku could have sworn he saw her feet levitating above the ground as she parted. King Furry then removed his hand from Chi-Chi's mouth. My apologies for that, Miss Chi-Chi. I just couldn't afford a chance of you offending Mr. Invader and his daughter. They're threatening to invade the planet, after all. No need to apologize, King Furry. I let my anger get the better of me there. Chi-Chi bowed to the monarch apologetically. Though, that Lum girl really had some nerve. That overconfidence of hers won't do much good against Goku. And that's why we have nothing to worry about. Goku faced far more challenging opponents than this flirty, teenage girl, so he'll win for certain. King Furry smiled in relief. Though, is it really such a good idea to broadcast all of this on TV? I am not used to seeing so many people watch me fight. Goku pointed out in reluctance. I see what you mean, lad, but this time around, I want you to receive proper credit for saving the world. It's the least I can do for the immense bravery and courage you've shown these past few years, King Furry said as he clasped Goku on the shoulder in gratitude. If that's what you think, then why not? Goku replied with a carefree grin. Though, how many people are going to attend my game of tag with Lum anyway? 100? Or 1,000? Chi-Chi and King Furry knowingly glanced at one another. They had a feeling Goku didn't know the exact population of Earth and how unbelievably high it was. For his sake, they decided to spare him that information for the time being. You'll find out once the game begins. Just sit tight and relax with Chi-Chi. I'll call you once we're ready to start, King Furry warmly suggested. Cool. Thanks a lot, King Furry. Goku grinned. Of course, King Furry said. He then made his way to the castle's recording studio with both guards in tow. Goku sat down in a chair with Chi-Chi close beside him. Man, this turned out to be a pretty crazy day, huh? That's honestly an understatement. Chi-Chi giggled in discomfort. She then nervously played with a strand of her hair, blushing. Though, I have to ask, Goku. Did you Yeah? Did you notice anything interesting about that Lum girl when you were talking to her? Anything attractive at all? Chi-Chi asked. She subtly gestured to her chest to emphasize what she was referring to. Goku, of course, didn't he pick up on this hint? Apart from her strange, almost electric key signature, not really. I just noticed that she was staring at me a lot for some reason. Goku noted in puzzlement. Maybe there was something on his face. Why do you ask, Chi-Chi? Chi-Chi simply rested her head on Goku's shoulder and lovingly sighed. He just confirmed everything she wanted to know and then some. No reason. I just wanted to hear your thoughts, she whispered. Goku looked down at the girl and lightly grinned. A part of him almost felt content having Chi-Chi by his side like this. Ah, okay, he whispered back. They continued to stay like that for a little while longer. Approximately a few hours later in Central City. After King Furry's global announcement was broadcast on television, billions of people flew to Central City in droves. Every single road needed to be cleared out just to accommodate this massive audience, causing one single street to be the main location for Goku and Lum's game. They stood in the exact center of town while everyone closely observed their every action from the sidelines. Up above, news helicopters flew through the sky in order to record each event as it took place in real time. One helicopter labeled ZTV was occupied by a television announcer with greasy, black hair, glasses, and a black suit. He also had a thin mustache and a gray microphone that he held ridiculously close to his mouth. Alright, folks. Today, the tag game of the century, with the lives of billions of people at stake, will officially begin right smack dab in the middle of the Earth's capital, Central City. He announced with overblown enthusiasm and charisma. I, the great Jimmy Firecracker, will be commentating on this crucial event in human history, which will more than likely be the highlight of my entire career thus far. His cameraman captured different shots of the crowd and city as their helicopter kept moving. One of them noticed some people running and screaming from a blonde woman who was firing multiple bullets into the air. Her long hair was tied down by a red bandana. Hey, get a move on, people. Make way, make way. We friends of Earth's savior here. The woman, Launch, shouted. Following closely behind her were Krillin, Bulma, Yamcha, Puar, Oolong, Master Roshi, Tien Shinhan, Chaozu, and a now nervous Chi-Chi. She does know the king of the earth is observing all of this, right? Krillin whispered over to Tien. He was a bald 20-year-old man wearing the same martial arts gi as Goku. Tien grimaced. He was a tall man with a third eye in the center of his forehead. Are you going to tell her that? The group stopped in the front of the whole crowd. Despite the questionable legality of Launch's actions, they had to admit that they worked nearly 100% of the time, especially during the World Martial Arts Tournament. Ignoring the crazed lunatic with a gun screaming nonsense down below, let us move on to announcing the competitors of this astounding match. Jimmy Firecracker cockily announced. A stray bullet from Launch's gun then shot up and almost hit Jimmy square in the chin. Heap. I heard that, 4 eyes, Launch growled. Bulma face-palmed. She had short blue hair, blue eyes, and red lipstick on. That's good enough, Launch. Put the gun away. Launch rolled her eyes and tucked away the handgun. All right, Killjoy. The rest of the audience all looked at Launch in fear, much to the rest of the Dragon Team's chagrin. They really couldn't seem to take her anywhere without causing a scene. Someone should lock that maniac up and throw away the key, Jimmy grumbled as he adjusted his glasses. Anyway, on one side, we have the beautiful, yet mischievous alien girl, Lum Invader. Yoo-hoo. Hello there, Earth people. Lum giggled. While hopping in place, she winked and blew kisses at the human boys in the crowd. All hail our goddess. A kid in glasses pledged aloud. We not worthy. We not worthy. Another kid bowed down in admiration of Lum's beauty. Please step on me, Lum. I need it. A third screamed in desperation. He had comical tears going down his cheeks. Krillin furrowed his eyebrows in disgust. Geez, are these creeps for real? They've actually got a point there, Krillin. I wouldn't mind playing a personal game of tag with her myself. Hehehehe. Goku's martial arts instructor, Master Roshi, cackled perversely. He focused squarely on Lum's breasts, causing Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Launch to collectively bash him upside the head. Shut up and cheer for Goku, you dirty old man, Bulma screeched angrily. Good thing they didn't notice me looking. Hee. Oolong thought. He sniggered as he watched Lum bounce up and down nearby. Launch then cocked her gun and smirked evilly. That goes for you too, Porky. Don't make me cook bacon out of you. Why yes, Marim. Oolong gulped as looked up into the sky. Puar just shook his head disapprovingly in response. And on the other side, we have the simple-minded champion of the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament and Demon King Piccolo's confirmed killer, Son Goku. Jimmy Firecracker announced. Mostly everybody in attendance cheered for Goku, especially his closest friends and allies from past adventures. This included Bora, Upper, Suno, Android 8, and many others. Goku cracked his knuckles and took a look around. Man, there's a whole lot more people on Earth than I realized. Wish King Furry could have warned me beforehand. Do your best, sweetie. I know you can do it. Chi-Chi cheered. Or, yeah. Kick her ass, Goku. Launch yelled as she clutched Oolong underneath her arm and punched him in the face. Shush. Quiet down, Launch. This isn't that type of match. Chiatsu requested that she calm down. He was small, eternally youthful boy with white skin and red cheeks. PFFD. Who cares? Goku's still going to serve this little bimbo on a silver platter, Launch confidently declared. Lum bared her fangs in anger. Her green hair slightly flared up with bolts of electricity as well. Bimbo, ha. HRGGH. ILL show you. She continued to hop in place and conserve her energy. Goku, at the same time, stretched his legs and loosened some of the joints in his arms. It appears our two competitors are performing some short stretches before the match begins. Jimmy Firecracker continued his commentary. Oh, and here we are, people. King Furry himself is about to fire the starter pistol. He is accompanied by Lum's father and Earth's potential alien overlord, Mr. Invader. As described, King Furry and Mr. Invader were standing on a grey pedestal behind the two challengers. Despite the circumstances of this competition, I still want this to be a nice, clean, and safe match. Is that understood? King Furry asked. Yep. Goku nodded. You've got it, Mr. Doggy, Lum giggled. Mr. What now? King Furry stammered with a light flush over his blue fur. Whatever. I'll allow it just this once. He then held up the starter pistol and prepared to fire it. On your marks, get set. Goku crouched down in preparation to dash forward while Lum kept hopping in place like before. Go! Goku sprinted so fast that to Lum and the audience, it appeared that he completely vanished into thin air. Fortunately, Lum was able to react at just the last second. Yikes! Hes fast, Lum muttered. She backflipped into the air and continued float away from Goku. Goku then stopped running to look up at Lum. He assumed this was one of the abilities native to Lum and Mr. Invader's race. I can't believe what I am seeing. First, Goku becomes completely invisible and now, Lum is able to fly without wings or so much as a jetpack. Jimmy Firecracker gasped in abject disbelief. This is truly a match for the history books, folks. The question, what will happen next? So, you can fly, huh? I wasn't expecting that. Goku said. I bet you wish you did your homework before the match began, Hee hee. Lum mischievously winked in midair. Well, I was never really one to do homework, so this actually makes things a whole lot more interesting. Goku beamed in excitement. Now, I'll show you what I am capable of. He then charged up his ki and flew directly in front of Lum. He was surrounded by a nearly invisible white aura. What? You can fly too? Lum gasped. There's more to it than that, but yeah, I can. Goku replied. Lum then tried to fly away, but Goku was simply too fast. He vanished and reappeared directly above Lum's head. Lum widened her eyes in dismay. Oh no. Goku then grabbed a hold of Lum's yellow horns and said, Welp, looks like I win. A large party ball was dropped, causing everyone on Earth to explode with immense happiness and amazement. Lum's new fanbase, in contrast, broke down into bitter tears for their disgraced idol. Unbelievable, folks. Son Goku has managed to save the Earth on the very first day of the race, and by flying in the flippin' air no less. Incredible. It is simply incredible. Like the firecracker in my name, it is over in an instant. I've never seen anything quite like it before. Jimmy Firecracker passionately expressed his admiration for Goku's performance. The Dragon Team, of course, were the most vocal in their praise of Goku. This particularly included Launch, who was firing rounds into the air out of sheer delight. That's my boy right there. I knew he had it in him. Launch snickered happily. Tien and Chaozu then silently agreed with one another, and tickled Launch's nose with a stray piece of confetti that fell. Hey, what do you two bozos think you are you? Launch powerfully sneezed. She suddenly dropped her gun and had her hair change from blonde to blue. Huh? Did Goku win something just now? Launch's nice personality obliviously asked in a quiet, sweet voice. Back with Goku, he finally removed his hands from Lum's horns. Lum, however, was frozen in place from shock. This Goku guy caught me that fast. Lum thought, having a difficult telling if this actually happened or not. No one has ever managed to catch me in a single day. Not even Ray could do that back home. She rubbed her blue eyes and took another close look at Goku's features. Although he wasn't all that intelligent based on her father's brief description, Goku appeared to be kind, handsome, and incredibly strong all at the same time. Yes sir, so amazing, Lum swooned out loud. Goku titled his head to the side. Did you say something, Lum? I mean, you were amazing out there, Goku. You being able to grab my horns that fast was nothing short of astounding. Lum praised with a genuine smile on her face. Thank you for giving me a chance to challenge you. You welcome. I am interested to see more of what you're capable of with that big lightning power and stuff. We should do this again someday, Goku happily suggested. He was interested to see how strong Lum could become with proper training. Lum shyly nodded her head. I'd like that, actually. Both competitors then landed back on the ground as everyone applauded their short, yet sweet performance. Great. Though, I'd not sure how we'd be able to do that with the whole marriage situation going on. This new relationship stuff can get really confusing, you know. Goku offhandedly mentioned his upcoming marriage to Chi-Chi. Unfortunately for him, Lum took this reference the wrong way. Marriage situation? Does that mean you? She stammered as her cheeks blushed a light pink. Goku wasn't sure why Lum's face was acting up like that, but he continued the conversation anyway. Yeah. I am getting married soon. I am still not sure what it really means, if I am being honest, but you can come to it if you want, I guess. Goku replied honestly. Lum shyly looked down at the floor and rocked herself back and forth. She then batted her eyelashes at Goku in a manner that screamed nothing but the utmost love and admiration. If you really insist, Goku, then, yes. I will marry you. Lum cried out in pure happiness. Wait, huh? Goku gaped in surprise. Where in the world did that come from? What? Mr. Invader and King Furry choked out in unison. What the hell did she just say? Chi-Chi screamed bloody murder. It looked as if she were about to rain hellfire down upon Lum in that precise instance. Darling, Lum swooned. She then wrapped her arms around Goku and gave him a big, affectionate hug. A team of new reporters then hounded Goku and Lum for details about their new relationship. Are you actually going to marry Lum after this match? A reporter demanded to know. Well, I think I was getting married, but not to. Lum tightly wrapped her arms around one of Goku's and said, yes he is. Back on my planet, Oni, marriage proposals are sacred. Now that Goku is engaged to me, I'll dedicate my entire life to living with him forever, and nothing will ever come between us from this day forward. Jimmy Firecracker exaggeratedly wiped a stray tear from his eye. You've heard it here first, folks. Goku and Lum, once fated rivals from different worlds, are now officially getting married. Isn't their newfound love something special? No, it certainly is not. Chi-Chi inhumanely screeched. She stomped over to the press and powerfully smacked a few journalists aside. Gah! They screamed in pain. Oh boy. Poor Goku has no idea what he's in for, Bulma stated sympathetically. Chi-Chi. Goku gulped. Oh, look, darling. Your grandmother's here to give us her blessing. How sweet of her. Lum sarcastically chuckled. Greer. I already told you before, you inconsiderate brat. Goku is mine, not yours. Chi-Chi fumed. She pulled Goku away from Lum and stuck out her tongue. Oh, is that so? Well, Goku's direct proposal to me says otherwise. So, be a dear and let us be happy together, K. Lum hugged Goku once again and stuck out her own tongue. In case you don't have the memory of a goldfish, you remember that Goku promised to marry me fairly recently. Yes, mine and mine alone. Chi-Chi brought him back to her side, causing Goku to feel a little lightheaded. Well, feelings can always change, so yes, mine. Lum growled. Her sharp fangs were beginning to show themselves. Mine. 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 Chi-Chi screamed one final time. No. I won't let darling leave me for some flat-chested spinster. I refuse. Lum stood in between both Goku and Chi-Chi, causing electric shocks to surge through the two of them upon contact. Yeah. The two screamed. It wasn't exactly painful per se, but for Goku, the electricity did still feel a tad bit strange and discombobulating. The crowd winced as a burned Chi-Chi comically fell unconscious and Goku collapsed onto his knees. It's Goku, by the way. Not darling, Goku stammered in visible exhaustion. Lum then crouched down and brought Goku's face close to her chest. Whatever you say, my darling Goku. Teehee. She giggled. Goku's friends looked upon Goku in a mix of sympathy and jealousy, mostly on Master Roshi's end, while a short old man expressed similar sentiments. He was a Buddhist monk named Cherry that wore green-black robes, a brown sun hat, and beaded necklace. In his right hand, he held a religious staff of sorts with golden rings on each side. This is fate. Cherry muttered under his breath while praying for Goku's own life. He could already tell that Goku's luck would go from bad to even worse from this point onward. Meanwhile, Piccolo secretly observed all of this from a nearby building. He was wearing his typical white cape and turban over a purple martial arts gi. His shoes were also the same orange as always. More than anything else, he was curious to find out what the Earth's overall fate would end up being. He didn't, however, expect to see whatever that was down there. TCH. Disgusting. This isn't even worth my time, Piccolo spat in displeasure. Not even bothering to challenge Goku for revenge, the Demon King's reincarnation flew off to some other place for training and such. Anything to keep his mind off this absolute idiocy would do. Approximately every week had surpassed because the conclusion of Goku's tag healthy against Lum. After wrongfully assuming that the two of them were married, she and Mr. Invader left to retrieve an alien registration from their home planet, Oni. Goku, of root, had no concept what that became, but Lum regarded to appearance mainly excited via it. She did not definitely deliver him lots of a proof aside from planting a small kiss on his cheek and leaving without every other word. Chi-Chi might have been relieved by their departure if it were not for the fact that Maximum News retailers would not close up approximately Lum and her newfound courting with Goku for that entire week. It triggered her blood to boil manner more than typical, a great deal to Goku, Ox King, and everybody else's worry. For the time being, her and Goku had been staying at Kame House with the relaxation of their friends. Ox King become busy operating on the construction in their new home on Mount Powju. So due to Grandpa Gohan's shack being too small, they needed a temporary location to live. Unluckily, Chi-Chi's patience changed into beginning to put on thin the extra she heard about Lum on television. They saved gambling the identical information record time and again, and she really couldn't take it anymore. Nicely, folks. It has been precisely every week since the stunning, active Oni girl, Lum Invader, left the Earth. Some have speculated that she desires to legalize the touching marriage notion given to our planet's very own savior, Son Goku. The one's lovebirds are truly something, aren't they? Jimmy Firecracker described on Master Roshi's television. He was status in the front of the street. Goku and Lum held their opposition. Chi-Chi, seated at the couch next to Goku, grabbed one of the cushions to suppress her anger. She bit into it as hard as feasible. And movement which greatly worried Goku to a sure degree. Howdy. Those weren't cheap, you already know. Grasp Roshi scolded in annoyance. Chi-Chi piercingly glared at him, inflicting the martial arts master to wince nervously. He adjusted his sun shades and tried to look away from her. But, over those beyond few days, a few humans have begun to doubt the validity of this enormous event in human records. They agree with that Goku and Lum's uncommon abilities, which includes their flight, had been all staged as an exposure stunt to draw tourism to significant town. One such man or woman is self-proclaimed martial arts enthusiast and previous student of the Preventing Dojo, Devil Fortress, Mark Hercule Devil. Let us examine what he has to say in this count. The digital camera moved over to a 20-year vintage man with a black afro, black handlebar mustache, and blue eyes. Fairly muscular for his age, he wore a brown martial arts gi and a white sash above his waist. He additionally wore white pants and black boots to suit this outfit. PFFD. Get a load of this joker, Krillin snorted. So, Mark, I prefer to cross through Mr. Satan now, Jimmy. Mr. Devil proudly interjected. Proper. So, Mr. Devil, you declare that Goku's martial arts talents had been greatly exaggerated in his fight in opposition to Lum. Jimmy Firecracker requested. That is right. No disrespect to this Goku man or woman, However, it changed into obvious that he was the use of a gaggle of fancy tricks and light shows to trap that green-haired girl. What looked like flying to you became possibly completed through almost invisible wires, I suppose. You can even see him disappear and reappear for the duration of the moment he caught Lum's horns, if those are even real within the first location. He probably did something to debris with the cameras at some point of your broadcast on ZTV. Interesting. There did seem to be some interference in our initial broadcast of the occasion, I suppose. Again, it's understandable which you didn't observe. Only the most proficient martial artists, like myself, ought to catch on to this type of thinly veiled trick. Mr. Satan nodded his head enthusiastically. He then pointed without delay at the camera and smirked. So, while Goku did win the 23rd International Martial Arts event, he has lots to be favored in terms of uncooked ability. I ought to have taken out that alien woman without any of those special effects he used. You've heard it here first from the future champ himself. Ha ha. Jimmy Firecracker raised an eyebrow on the martial artist. You do understand that is happening digicam, proper. For the reason that Mr. Satan become too stuck up with his own ego to observe, Jimmy Firecracker cleared his throat. Nicely, that all people. Do you observed Goku faked his capacity to fly as Mr. Satan claimed? Or turned into Mr. Invader and Lum's entire danger to take over the world just one large tricky ruse? Discover subsequent time on ZTV when we going to most possibly be overlaying the marriage of the millennium among Lum and a remote changed into all of sudden thrown instantly via the television, inflicting its display screen to shatter into various pieces. Oh, come on. That's the fifth one this week, Chi. Examiner Few 2E6E3562D9DBC 29D194484E1328F239 for Kami's sake. Oolong cried angrily. Chi stood up from the couch and balled her fists. S2E6E3562D9DBC 29D194484E1328F239. The only 2E6E3562D9DBC 29D194484E1328F239 want is suppressing the urge to punch that alien cow in the face whilst she comes again right here. Relax, Chi. Is not that a bit harsh? Goku puzzled. She wasn't all that horrific. HMPH. Smooth for you to mention. She was nearly all over you after your so-called inspiration to her. I guess part of you loved it. Chi grumbled resentfully. She crossed her hands and tried to look away from Goku. Now, this is simply unfair, Chi. Goku's never been that sort of man or woman. He idea a bride was something to devour, recollect. Bulma came to Goku's protection. Chi begrudgingly nodded, searching particular responsible for what she stated. To be honest, the boy wasn't exactly incorrect, grasped Roshi muttered beneath his breath. Hearing this dirty remark, Bulma slid over and proceeded to more or less smack him upside the top. Get your head out of the gutter, you old perv. She growled. She then pinched the bridge of her nose and sighed. Appearance, Chi. This whole scenario changed into truly a misunderstanding, so what are you so upset about? In contrast to with Lum, Goku's notion to you was absolutely legit. Of path I know that, Bulma. But while all of those stupid news stations keep going, Lum this and Lum that, what else am I supposed to experience? They may be reporting on Goku's marriage to Lum like it is the best factor because sliced bread and I just can't take it anymore. Chi growled in irritation. She then seemed out the window with a somber expression on her face. All I wanted to do become be happy with my Goku. And now, I cannot even try this a lot. Goku frowned. Even though he became used to Chi getting indignant, he in no way genuinely favored seeing her get this sad. He got up from his seat and rested a hand on Chi-Chi's shoulder. I am sorry approximately all of this, Chi. I just talked to Lum approximately gambling another game of tag and my mouth went on autopilot for a few calls. I shouldn't have even referred to marriage to her. Goku whispered in minor guilt. Chi turned around and grabbed Goku's hand. It is K, sweetie. I know it wasn't your fault. Chi lightly kissed his hand. I just desire there was a manner we ought to restore all of this. Everyone sat in silence trying to consider a manner to stop Goku from marrying Lum. In spite of everything, the Oni princess did, in truth, promise to return, and she ought to accomplish that at any second. After some time exceeded, Yamcha snapped his fingers in recognition. We given it. How about you men have the marriage right now? The others, which include Puar, checked out the wasteland bandit skeptically. Proper now? Might we actually have sufficient time for that? Goku wondered curiously. Nicely. We did control to store my mom's wedding ceremony dress from Hearth Mountain, the use of the Bansho fan a few days in the past, so yeah, we absolutely should. Chi-Chi beamed with satisfaction. She then ran over to Yamcha and hugged him tightly. You are a lifesaver, Yamcha. Thanks, thank you. Hee. No longer a hassle. Yamcha nervously laughed with a mild flush on his cheeks. Bulma gave him the stink eye for this movement, which significantly pressured him. What? Chi-Chi saved smiling from ear to ear. Goku watched her briskly move around the room, now not certain if he must experience glad or worried approximately her rapid alternate in temper. Oh, that is so exciting. That damn Oni bimbo won't realize what hit her. Ha ha ha. She evilly snickered in pleasure. Release, Master Roshi, Oolong, and Krillin had been disturbed by means of this conduct. I assume she's sooner or later lost it, guys, Krillin whispered. She did not lose it before. Oolong whispered returned. Could you thoughts if we held the wedding at Tablet Corp, Bulma? So we can have anyone we know in attendance? Chi-Chi with politeness asked in a sweet tone. Certain, Chi-Chi. If that is what you guys need, Bulma stated. She then mischievously glanced at her closest friend. I'll even pick out a match for Goku if he would not have one. Goku sighed. Or, guy. A healthy. However, those are so uncomfortable and itchy. Cannot I simply put on my GI? No, you cannot. This is our wedding ceremony, and that I need it to be clearly best. I will be damned if you get dressed like a few grimy hobo there, Chi-Chi yelled in outrage. Yeesh. Don't be thoughtful of the old guy's emotions or anything, Master Roshi muttered in offense. He put a variety of difficult work into designing the one's doggers. Now, allow us get a move on, Goku. We ought to snatch my dad, Baba, and my mother get dressed, Chi-Chi said. She clutched Goku's hand and almost dragged him to the front door. "'Kay then, but you do not need to be in this type of hurry," Goku mumbled. He changed into dragging his feet across the ground like a bit youngster. "I form of do if I do not want a sure power-spewing imp to barge in unannounced." "An electricity-spewing imp? Is it strong?" Chi-Chi sighed in response to Goku's ever-gift obliviousness. "Just call Nimbus, so we can go." Goku, now standing out of doors of Kame House, lightly wretched his hand far from Chi-Chi's and nodded. Flying Nimbus, he known as. As soon as the golden cloud regarded, the two jumped on board and flew away. "See all of you guys at Capsule Corp then," Goku shouted inside the distance. The others collectively prepared to leave Kame residence as well. It appeared that all of them had a marriage to attend and put together for. "You do not suppose Lum is truly coming returned, right?" Krillin asked in interest. Bulma rested a give up her chin, wondering. It is hard to mention. She did appear quite affectionate with Goku. I suppose I heard her calling him darling or something lower back in Important Town. Darling? Yikes. Looks like Chi-Chi has some steep opposition then, Yamcha said. Maybe. I wager we going to simply should see what happens. Bulma in the end shrugged. She then departed from Kame House with anybody else in tow. Meanwhile, in Tamabiki, excessive faculty Tamabiki High Faculty became a two-story building placed within the aptly named metropolis, Tamabiki-cho. It was white with a crimson roof and a clock tower that resided within the middle. An open gate was also present close to the entrance, and could probably remain close in the course of the faculty's remaining hours. Additionally, green moss seeped from the lowest of the school's wall to its pinnacle, showing signs of age and mild degradation over time. A similarly growing older wood signal that indexed the faculty's name in kanji became posted near the entrance as properly. Within the faculty's attic, 4 boys have been looking pictures from Goku and Lum's tag recreation via an vintage faculty projector. Every of them looked upon Lam's look in sheer awe and lust as the event became shown from beginning to cease. She is so immaculate. How can one girl keep such splendor? Perm, a tall and skinny teen, stammered in disbelief. He, as his name suggested, had short brown hair that changed into styled into that of a perm. Once the photos ended, a light bulb in the room became on. The ment leader of the group, Megan, then clenched his fists determinedly. He changed into a 17-year antique teenager with glasses and brief, slightly spiked brown hair. Calm yourself, comrade. All of us recognize how tremendous Lam is. It really is why we should find more information about her in any respect fees. It is a disgrace she fell in love with that Goku guy. She hasn't been again to Earth since she lost to him. A huge, heavy teen, Kakugari, grumbled. His brown hair changed into styled into that of a buzzcut. Sure, alas, it really is why that dense fool is now our enemy. For all people who cannot see how high quality Lam is clearly does no longer deserve her affection. Megan shouted passionately. So, as Lam's stormtroopers, we have to force Goku to convey Lam lower back to Earth right away. We cannot bear our craving for Lam anymore. Right on. No objections. The alternative three cried in agreement. Although, what might we even do in opposition to him, guys? He appeared quite freakin' strong to me. Chibi, a scrawny, timid boy, with light brown hair, stated in anxiousness. Megan laughed without an awful lot issue. Ha! Do not be so naive, Chibi. Haven't you seen the news? Mr. Satan already uncovered that spiky-haired moron for the fraud that he truly is. He have to have tricked bad Lam into throwing the in shape and hence, cannot be forgiven. You honestly believe that crap? I doubt you can fake walking extraordinarily speedy, dude. We even saw him tag Lam firsthand. Perm snorted. Camera hints, my buddy. Digital camera tricks. Mr. Devil glaringly has enough genius and preventing information to notice that, in contrast to you. Something. You are most effective announcing that cause you a big Mr. Satan fanboy. Kakugari chimed in. Oh, chew me. He genuinely has a big hazard to win the subsequent event. You will see. Megan spat angrily. He then took a breath and calmed himself down. Besides, I hereby set up the committee to carry Lam back to Earth. Our first mission can be to confront Goku and use him as bait for Lam's return. Any questions? Need to we get Moroboshi worried in this? Perm requested, regarding their friend and notorious pervert, Ataru Moroboshi. Hell no. That flirtatious scum will taint Lam's divine purity any hazard he gets. Permit him soak in his very own depravity for a change. Megan groaned in disgust. They had been buddies, however Ataru was a ways too lecherous for his own correct. Can we even recognize wherein Goku is? Kakugari asked. Top question. He does appear to be friends with Capsule Corp Heiress, Bulma Quick, so perhaps we should strive there. Their building is in West City, I agree with. Megan counseled. West Town changed into really near Tomabiki-cho, so getting there wouldn't take too long for them. No longer gonna lie, that Bulma girl is a complete babe too. Hee hee. Chibi creepily chuckled. Before he ought to think about Bulma in grimy, sexual situations, Megan conked him on the pinnacle. Enough of that. Keep your suggestive thoughts for Lam and Lam alone. He chastised his fellow stormtrooper. Right. Sorry, very well then, comrades. Let us deliver our goddess returned as soon as viable. Megan let loose an extreme struggle cry. Yeah, for Lam. The alternative three shouted lower back in unison. All four of Lam's stormtroopers then ran out of the attic. But, once they were given outdoor of the school, they got here to our unexpected consciousness. So how are we speculated to get there? Perm questioned curiously. Megan then took a study a number of the close-by automobiles parked in front of Tomabiki Excessive College and smirked deviously. I am certain I'll think about something. West City, Pill Organization Building. After a few hours of coaching, Goku and Chi-Chi's wedding had formally all started. Most of that point became spent seeking to get Goku outfitted right into her in shape, however through a bit trial and mistakes, they just slightly succeeded in doing so. It was a fairly small provider held inside Pill Enterprise's backyard. Most of the people in attendance have been both Goku's closest pals, people he encountered on his past adventures around the world, or Tablet Corp personnel native to West Metropolis. The martial artist in question was sporting a white tuxedo with matching pants and footwear. Chi-Chi to begin with attempted to slick his hair returned with a few gel, however irrespective of how tough she tried, its signature spikes would clearly not stay down for long. Goku, in a manner, felt grateful for that, because he changed into already uncomfortable enough as is. He had to maintain stretching out his collar that allows you to forestall himself from sweating to demise. Guy, I am hoping this does not go on for too lengthy. I am loss of life here. Goku panted. Krillin, Goku's fine guy, gently jabbed him in the belly. He, alongside Tien, Yamcha, Chaozu, Yajirobe, and even Oolong, have been status in a line to Goku's left. Show a bit magnificence, Guy. This is your wedding ceremony day. You need to be excited. Krillin scolded his friend. Goku squirmed in vicinity. I bet so. I simply don't know why those outfits need to be so stiff. I am able to barely pass in this component. Yajirobe looked up at Goku, grimacing. He became munching on a plate of food whilst standing. Oh, grow up, Goku. It is not like you re the only one that wishes to put on those stupid monkey suits. Tien deadpanned at the fat samurai with all three of his eyes. Is that this in reality a very good time if you want to be eating proper now? Thoughts your personal commercial enterprise, Triclops. I am frightened round massive crowds like this. Yajirobe snapped as he shoveled extra meals into his mouth. Throughout from him, Chi-Chi's bridesmaids, Bulma, Release, and, highly sufficient, Fortunatella Barber, had been status side by way of aspect. Barber become nevertheless sporting her ordinary witch outfit, thankfully. You, anxious, fair, simply set the food down, fatso. Even Goku has extra restraint than you and he is a bottomless pit. Launch scoffed in disgust. Goku sheepishly scratched the lower back of his head, smiling, guilty as charged. He. Very well, okay. I will wait till the dumb wedding is over. Yajirobe groaned as he sat the plate at the back of him. He then crossed his fingers and grumbled to himself. Figures that her loopy winch side had to be here proper now. What did you just say, you fat bastard? Launch yelled angrily. She became approximately to carry out an Uzi until Bulma stopped her at the remaining second. Shush. Close up, guys. She is coming. She hissed. It was obvious why Chi-Chi chose her to be the maid of honor, even though they technically failed to recognize every different all that nicely. Every person froze to watch Chi-Chi walk down the aisle. On one aspect of her, the inhabitants of Hearth Mountain were seated in more than one white benches. They regarded proud to peer their young princess sporting her mother's antique dress in all its superb splendor. Some of them were even beginning to tear up. On the other side, Master Roshi, Dr. Short, Panchi, and the various human beings Goku befriended as a kid were present. This blanketed the father-son Karinga tribe duo, Bora and Upper, Suno, her own family, Android 8, Dr. Flap, and other traffic from Jingle Village, Nam, Koran, Goku's Foxpal, Konkachi, and limitless more. It took a while for Bulma to touch them, however ultimately, they all got here to have fun a new level in Goku's lifestyles along him. Chi-Chi, sporting a protracted, flowing white get-dressed, turned into individually escorted by means of her dad. She held a package of white plants in her palms even as Ox King struggled to not bawl his eyes out. He wore in particular equipped black fit with brown shoes. Loosen up, Daddy. We have not even gotten to the altar but Chi-Chi whispered. I understand. You just appearance so stunning, pricey. I can't help however think of how proud your mother would be right now. Ox King sniffled emotionally. Chi-Chi smiled in a melancholic fashion. I hope so. Her get-dressed is in reality ideal. I couldn't consider these days without it. Satisfied to listen this, Ox King desperately wiped his eyes to stop the tears from falling. Chi-Chi, in comparison, glared up at the sky. That obnoxious homewrecker better now not spoil this. There is simplest a lot abuse I am able to take. She idea. Narrowing her eyes, Chi-Chi then appeared up to look Goku in his new tuxedo. She blushed at how handsome he looked. Goku gulped down a building lump in his throat as Chi-Chi stood immediately in front of him. She seemed completely unrecognizable to him. All he may want to do changed into stand frozen in vicinity as Ox King parted from her and jointed his other groomsmen. "Well, aren't you going to remove my veil?" Chi-Chi playfully requested. "Oh, right." Goku nodded nervously. After starting off her veil, he saw that Chi-Chi's raven hair became included with a wreath of white vegetation. Inexperienced leaves had been positioned in the back of every of her ears, which complemented Chi-Chi's purple lipstick and blue earrings. Goku, although no longer used to displays of affection, nevertheless could not assist but grin in reaction to Chi-Chi's look. "Like what you notice?" Chi-Chi inquired sweetly. "Yeah, I am not all that properly with words, however you actually do look lovely, Chi-Chi. I suggest that," Goku whispered. In that second, the Princess of Hearth Mountain seemed the happiest she has ever been. In the crowd, Bulma's mom, Punchi, broke out into tears of joy. She had quick blonde hair, pink lipstick, and blue eyes that were generally closed extra often than not. "Isn't this beautiful, dear? Our candy little Goku subsequently becoming a person," she hiccuped. She grabbed more than one tissues and blew her nose with them. "Sure, yes. It virtually is a sight to behold." Dr. Quick nodded in agreement. He was an antique guy with light blue hair and a bushy mustache of the same color. At the proper shoulder of his lab coat, a little black cat resided. "Meow." Scratch mewed. Master Roshi, now wearing a black fit and fedora, shook his head. "Sheesh. You re-performing as if the boy is your very own son or something. Lighten up." He audibly snorted earlier than taking a good, long take a look at Goku himself. The vintage turtle hermit fatherly smiled at him. "Top for you, my boy. I am hoping your prior incident with Lum would not get in the way of this, although, admittedly, on account that smoking warm frame once more wouldn't he be all that terrible in hindsight. Ehehehe." As though she had a sixth sense for detecting Roshi's perverted fantasies, Bulma glared directly at him. The martial arts instructor squirmed in his seat and looked away. "That's what I idea," Bulma muttered. While making ready to look lower back at Chi-Chi, she noticed that a brief, ugly old man suddenly regarded out of nowhere. "Wait a minute, who Ryu purported to be?" she asked. Anyone else looked at the unusual elder in curiosity. "Cherry. I am an authorized priest here to officiate this wedding ceremony," he replied with a look of indifference on his face. "However, but I didn't even lease you. Goku and Chi-Chi are not even religious either," Bulma mentioned. "That may be true, Ms. Bulma. But, do you have every person else who can officiate this cute ceremony? All people at all?" Cherry flippantly inquired. "Nicely no, but the priest held up his arms in a signal of prayer. Then it is fate. I will make sure to execute it to the high quality of my potential." "But you are exceptional. Let us just get these hitched already." Bulma glowered. Regardless of grasp Roshi round, this guy turned into starting to present her the creeps. Friends, own family, people of West Metropolis, and that extraordinarily ugly guy nevertheless seeking to consume before the after-party. "Hiya," Yajiro barked. "We've accumulated here these days to witness the marriage of Ms. Milk." It is Chi-Chi, sir. That is what I said. And the current protector of this world, Son Wukong. Son Goku, clearly. Once more, identical aspect. Those two have both agreed to share their love for some other to the entire planet and beyond. And there may be nothing greater powerful than the sort of close, tightly woven bond as this, I am positive. Goku took this description far too literally. Nicely, I don't know if there is anything as effective as Piccolo and... Chi-Chi roughly stomped on his foot in annoyance. "Yow!" Goku yelped. "Hey, that hurt. What become that for?" "Prevent rambling on about some silly nonsense and permit him talk, Goku," Chi-Chi hissed. Goku hurriedly stood up straight in no how. Besides, do you, Goku, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" Cherry requested. Something about his clean stare unnerved Goku to a sure degree. However, he ultimately ignored it. It became as if the old guy become awaiting some kind of unforeseen event. "Why yep. I do. And do you, Chi-Chi, Take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband, he requested in the same tone. I do, Chi-Chi responded without query. Cherry leaned towards the couple and whispered, I count on that neither of you had the time to write down wedding ceremony vows for each other, correct? Goku quirked a forehead. Vows? We were alleged to write stuff for this. Every person in attendance started to snigger, wrongfully assuming that Goku was joking in a few way. His pals, alternatively, knew higher and facepalmed as a result. It truly is a no, I am afraid. Chi-Chi sighed in disappointment. I think we will bypass the formalities for once. Cherry shrugged with little care. Then, by way of the powers vested in me by using the extraordinary Buddha himself, I now pronounce you husband and... Before the priest ought to finish his sentence, a stray car emerged from the sky. It became going so rapid that its 4 drivers all of a sudden lost manipulate of it in midair. Look out! Appearance out! They screamed. Wedding guests leapt far away from their seats as the car smashed into the floor in a fiery explosion. Thankfully, it changed into quite a chunk of distance from wherein Goku and Chi-Chi were standing. What within the hell just happened? Tien gasped in surprise. Before all of us eyes, 4 teens slowly crawled out of the automobile's wreckage. They were all protected from head to toe in scorch marks and small bruises. Hold preserve it right there, Son Goku. Magan coughed up a lung before pointed immediately at Goku. The 4 of us have a bone to pick out with you. Goku gestured to himself in marvel. Me? But who even are you men? Hold forth, comrades, the bespectacled Tamabiki excessive faculty student yelled. His 3 partners then were given into some weird, Charlie's Angels style formation. Perm, Chibi, Kakugari, and Magan. Together we re the indomitable protectors of purity and innocence, Lames stormtroopers. He introduced with the utmost confidence. They all struck individual poses that by hook or by crook managed to reason the automobile to spontaneously combust even greater. Gwa! They yelped. The stormtroopers painfully smacked into the floor close to Chi-Chi's feet, a lot to her clean revulsion. Our perm moaned in ache. Chi-Chi's eye commenced to twitch. Even when Lum wasn't even there, she was still getting within the manner of her and Goku's satisfied courting by some means. No, this could be actual. She shook her head in denial and newfound panic. Cherry snuck into view and closed his eyes. At the contrary, 'tis destiny, he repeated. This announcement, on top of everything that simply took place, broke Krillin. PFFT. BAHAHAHAHA. Prevent it, Krillin. This isn't funny, Chi-Chi whined. Hee. Oh, come on, Chi-Chi. How is that this no longer humorous? I knew those men were weirdos when I first saw them at the tag game, but this honestly takes the cake. Krillin endured to laugh. Yamcha wholeheartedly agreed and laughed along with him. Chuckle all of you need, cue ball. However you want to be laughing once we capture Goku and use him to attract our loved Lum again to Earth. You dorks need to seize Goku. Yeah, proper. Like this is ever gonna take place. Yamcha snorted in enjoyment. The 4 of them blended still wouldn't be sufficient to healthy Goku in phrases of electricity. Yes, proper. I don't assume it really is going to work, you men. I am not even certain wherein Lum is myself, Goku admitted. Magan bared his enamel in outrage. It would not count number. We realize Lum will come lower back once she sees that her so referred to as darling is in hazard. You nerds have some critical problems, Yajirobe stated in disgust. The simplest difficulty we've right here is that Goku fool. Tie him up, comrades, Magan ordered. The other 3 stormtroopers added out a few rope and quick wrapped round Goku's hands. Hee. We've got we given you now, dummy, Chibi sniggered. They tied the rope into a tight little knot, reputedly trapping Goku in region. How's that? Sense inclined now, Magan smugly taunted Goku. Goku, of course, failed to appearance phased via this at all. No longer simply, it is just a little tight. He slightly flexed his biceps and snapped the rope in. This frightened Lames stormtroopers, particularly Magan. What? You tore immediately through it. He stammered. Maybe Mr. Devil become complete of crap this complete time, in the end. Nicely, yeah. Stuff like that is not anything compared to the form of human beings I have fought. Should not you have recognized that before? They did point out that I defeated King Piccolo on T-Vision. Goku cited in puzzlement. Magan felt a piece stupid being called instant like this. His three buddies glared at him in displeasure. Shit. All this time, I notioned that Piccolo guy changed into a few problematic advertisement for a brand new monster movie that in no way got released. He abruptly adjusted his glasses. TSK. Something. Just you being here should be sufficient to attract Lum's attention. ULLC. Quick, guys. Allow us to begin our hail to the UFOs. That is bound to work, Magan cried. Proper. His pals agreed. All of them held palms and slowly spun around in a circle. Ventura, Ventura, area people. Ventura, Ventura, space humans. The four of them chanted in unison. The quantity of humiliation they were facing turned into nearly palpable in a manner. And yet, regardless of all people's terrible opinion of them, all they appeared to care about became seeing Lum once more. Oh awesome. Now, they are chanting. Krillin sighed. Launch cocked her gun. Want me to shoot them in the kneecaps? That'll take them out of commission for some time. No one else taking pictures everyone. Release. Regardless of how weird and off-placing those men seemed to be. Bulma shivered distastefully. They definitely needed to get a few girlfriends. Ventura, Ventura, area humans. Ventura, Ventura, area human beings. Lum's stormtroopers continued to chant. Above them, a small portal of yellow strength commenced to materialize, a lot to their glaring delight. All right, men. It's working. Only a little extra effort. Magan whooped luckily. They started out to chant even quicker. Ventura, Ventura, area humans. Having enough of this asinine chant, Chi-Chi's face immediately grew to become pink from sheer anger. ERRGH. That does it. She screamed at the pinnacle of her lungs. Wedding get dressed be damned. Chi-Chi sprinted as much as Magan and socked him at once throughout the face. Gwa! The boy cried in pain. A few teeth flew out of his mouth as an end result. Oh Perm, Chibi, and Kakugari winced as they broke aside their ritualistic circle. Whoa! You did not want to hit him that difficult, Chi-Chi. Goku mumbled in moderate sympathy. Ignoring him, Chi-Chi stomped over to Magan and grabbed him by means of the hem of his shirt. The alternative stormtroopers have been a long way too frightened to combat returned. Now, concentrate to me loud and clear. You quartet of losers have approximately 5 seconds to leave my wedding ceremony earlier than I lose what little semblance of sanity and patience that I have left. Chi-Chi screeched in rage. I may appearance candy and quite right now, but you haven't any concept what I am capable of when I am getting indignant. And also you basement living morons are making me very, very, very indignant. Is that understood? Why sure, Ma'am. Sorry, Ma'am. Magan choked out apologetically. She then threw him at the opposite three, inflicting them to fall apart on the ground like bowling pins. Top. Now, get out of here earlier than that dumb portal certainly works and... Regrettably, it was too overdue for her. A yellow bolt of lightning bolt shot out of the portal, causing her acquainted Oni girl to be discovered from it. She anxiously seemed across the area. Darling? Lum? Goku requested. Upon hearing his voice, Lum ran up to Goku and hugged him as tightly as feasible. Darling, she squealed. Energy surged through Goku's frame, inflicting his tuxedo to come to be completely scorched in a few places. W properly at the least my in shape s now not so stiff anymore. Hee hee. Goku chuckled woozily. We did it, guys. She s right here. AHAHAHA. Lum's stormtroopers cheered among themselves in happiness. Comical tears were falling from their eyes out of seen remedy and contentment. Oh, darling. Did you dress up like this simply to greet me? You re this type of doll? Lum chirped. She contentedly rubbed her head towards Goku's shoulder. I truly missed you. No. Simply not. Chi-Chi shouted ragefully. How inside the hell did you even get right here? Lum grew to become her head away from Goku to observe Chi-Chi. Oh, it is you in case you must realize. I was filling out an alien registration permit, so that I should formally stay on Earth with Darling. Oh, so, that is what it became. Goku realized. Yep. Isn't that splendid, Darling? Now, I can live with you for as long as I want, Lum lovingly chirped. She pressed her frame up towards Goku's in a tighter embrace. And what makes you observed ID even permit that to appear? Chi-Chi grunted. HMPH. As if it is any of your commercial enterprise. Goku and I are married now, so he wishes his new wife dwelling beside him. Lum retorted with a proud, purple-lipped smirk. Nicely, seeing as how you simply barged in on our wedding ceremony unannounced, it is, in reality, my enterprise. Chi-Chi gestured to her wedding get-dressed in annoyance. Lum's eyes widened. She regarded round and saw a gaggle of people in suits or clothes gazing her. Wedding ceremony? She stuttered. She glanced over at Goku in disappointment. Darling, is this genuine? Goku failed to simply recognize what to say. He did not need to make Lum sad, however at the equal time, hiding the truth wouldn't he do her a good deal better? Yeah, it's Miles, Lum. Chi-Chi attempted to inform you this every week ago, but I form of promised to marry her while we were youngsters. Granted, I thought bride was a few kind of meals again then, however I did agree to keep my promise on the 23rd International Martial Arts match. Goku explained as actually as he ought to. After I mentioned marriage after our suit ended, I used to bespeak me approximately my wedding ceremony with Chi-Chi. I failed to simply recommend to you. It was a false impression. Lum seemed beaten. She failed to need to agree with it, but after remembering Goku's precise words, none of what he said became an instantaneous idea in any way. She simply did misinterpret what he stated. However, but darling, Lum sniffed. Tears started to fall from her eyes. I came all this manner to peer you. I neglected you so much, and that is what you tell me. Wah. Lum's stormtroopers sprang into motion and rotated round Goku, looking furious. Bastard. You made Lum cry. Megan snarled. He would not shed live. Kill him. Perm shouted. The youngsters all punched and kicked Goku, however none of their attacks did something. Goku just stood there and targeted all his interest on the saddened Lum. While this came about, Cherry walked as much as Lum with his usual poker face. Actually, Miss Lum, there is a small loophole to this specific state of affairs, if you re-inclined to hear it, he found out. Lum wiped away some of her tears. A loophole. At the same time as Goku did indeed promise to have Chi-Chi as a bride in his adolescence, that doesn't he precisely make it a genuine proposal of marriage? He most effective agreed to do it on the way to please Chi-Chi and make her happy. Cherry described the shaky instances at the back of Goku's first suggestion. Here on the planet, we actually have a custom wherein couples trade wedding rings with one another to indicate their love. And in this wedding ceremony, there had been no such rings. That means, Goku and Chi-Chi are not formally married through any approach. I see. Then, Darling went through a comparable false impression earlier than Lum recalled. That is proper. And when you consider that your suggestion turned into broadcast to the whole thing of Earth's worldwide populace, that technically makes your marriage greater authentic from a positive factor of view, at least. Cherry assumed in semi-uncertainty. This alien registration permit you filled out to live here is also evidence enough of that reality too. So that means, Lum murmured. Her sadness became replaced with that of relief as she glomped Goku all over again. I have a threat to be Darling's wife, in the end. Hooray! She cheered. Goku became greatly surprised to fare more diploma, causing Lum's stormtroopers to fly off of him in various directions. GWAH, they screamed. G getting shocked with the aid of Lum is both a blessing and a curse. Megan weakly coughed. Why, you little goblin? Whose side are you on right here? Chi-Chi scowled. Like I stated, I am a certified priest. I am simply peeling lower back the layers of fate as they arrive to bypass. I don't select any aspects. Cherry flippantly answered. That is fate and the way destiny will be, pass over. If you say that one extra time, I am going to peel back the layers of your... Ox King came up and attempted to maintain his daughter again. That's enough, Chi-Chi. You may spoil your mother's dress at this rate, he sternly proclaimed. This time, Chi-Chi began to rip up. But Daddy, they destroyed my wedding ceremony day. How can I forgive these monsters for something like that? It's unthinkable. Ox King pulled her into a tight include. I know. There may be virtually not anything we will do approximately it now, even though. Goku then stood in between both Lum and Chi-Chi. Appearance, men. I suppose Cherry made a terrific factor here. None of our marriages had been in reality well actual, so I assume maybe we must what is the phrase I am looking for. Slow matters down a chunk, Bulma recommended from the sidelines. Yeah. Thank you, Bulma. Goku nodded in gratitude. I do care approximately you, Chi-Chi, but I don't know if marriage have to be developing so soon, despite the fact that it became a promise I made earlier than. I genuinely don't know a lot about you, now that I reflect on consideration on it. Equal with you, Lum. Chi-Chi, although an emotional destroyer, tried following alongside Goku's reasoning. I suppose you rewrite. We did handiest meet a few times as children earlier than the event. And that's why we must live as, you already know, buddies at the moment. Simply so I will get to understand both of you more in between training classes and such. All right, darling. If that is what you want, then I cannot say I refuse. Lum begrudgingly General Goku's phrases. She then bared her fangs. However, I nonetheless want to stay with you in a few way. I may not take no for a solution. Giara, you have some nerve, Chi-Chi growled beneath her breath. Goku stroked his chin in idea. I wager it really is fine. However, where could you also be capable of stay? It turned into then that the stormtroopers all were given up and collected round Lum. They were practically playing tug of conflict together with her complete frame. You could live with me, Lum. My residence is continually open for you, Perm supplied. No, stay with me, Kakugari stated. No, me, Chibi said. Don't be egocentric. I am the chief, so I call dibs. Megan shouted loudly. Getting too close to Lum's private space, she abruptly let out an electric shockwave. Escape from me, she shrieked. Lum then scurried over to Goku and concealed in the back of him for safety. Her stormtroopers, in the meantime, in the long run fell subconscious from a mix of ache and delight. Goku, nevertheless deep in thought, checked out Lum and got here up with a new concept. Wait, we given it? Could Lum have the ability stay at Tablet Corp, Bulma? Goku asked. Bulma raised an eyebrow. That's a bit unexpected, isn't it? We still have to clean up this whole wedding ceremony, you realize? I suggest after that, you and your parents are rich, so there is lots of stuff for Lum to do there. She can fly around and everything. We can be rich, however that doesn't suggest our budget are bottomless or anything. Housing an alien lady could be a lot of paintings, Goku. Bulma talked about in a critical tone. I do not see a trouble with it. Your mom and I have already dealt with teenage ladies, so one more should not be that a great deal of a trouble, Dr. Quick said. Plus, Lum is in order that lovely. I am positive matters might get an entire lot extra exciting together with her around, Panchi giggled. Lum smiled. Or, thanks call me Panchi, expensive, my satisfaction. Right. Thank you, Panchi. Lum smiled a chunk wider out of gratitude. Bulma rolled her eyes, sighing. I nonetheless assume you men are a touch bit too on board with this, but all right. Lum can stay at Tablet Corp temporarily. Even though, we will need to smooth up the whole thing here first. That's all right, Bulma. I am able to live in my flying saucers for this night. I don't thoughts. Alien ship? Goku asked confusedly. It is the deliver I used to fly right here, darling. I parked it near your planet's higher atmosphere, Lum defined. True to know then. Bulma nodded. She walked over to Chi-Chi and placed a hand on her shoulder. Are you going to be okay, Chi-Chi? Chi-Chi appeared down at her wedding ceremony, get dressed and slumped her shoulders. Yeah, I'll be first class. I simply need to think over a few things at Half Mountain. Okay. I am always here in case you need to speak with a person, Bulma stated sympathetically. Release expressed comparable sentiments. That is going for me too. Thanks, girls. I admire it, Chi-Chi muttered. She then shared direct eye touch with Goku. I hope this can give us a few more possibilities to spend time with every different Goku. Maybe we going to even be able to cross on adventures like you probably did with Bulma and the others. It is something I usually desired to do with you. Sounds fun. I would genuinely like that, Chi-Chi. Goku smiled excitedly. Chi-Chi's eyelids then drooped ever so slightly. However, consider, Goku. I do love you. I simply wish that extra time, you may develop to like me simply as much, if no longer greater than now, she claimed from the lowest of her heart. Then who knows? Maybe we'll have every other, even higher wedding ceremony than this one in the future with none distractions. She glared immediately at Lum and the stormtroopers with that last assertion. Lum observed this, however, Goku, for the most part, didn't he? We'll see how matters play out, Chi-Chi, Goku guiltily whispered. Chi-Chi then shared a ghost of a grin and kissed Goku at the cheek one remaining time. Slowly rubbing the spot wherein her red lipstick changed into left, Goku watched her walk off with Ox King and the opposite population of Fireplace Mountain in tow. Well, it is that then. See you later, anybody. Chi-Chi waved at her friends. But, she stopped proper subsequent to Lum before officially leaving. Oh, and Lum. She narrowed her eyes and were given clearly near the Oni princess's proper ear. Don't you suppose for a 2D that I have given up on Goku? I intend to be his spouse irrespective of what. Remember that. Chi-Chi hissed challengingly. Lum narrowed her blue eyes the identical manner, smirking. Funny. I was approximately to say the equal issue, Chi-Chi. Darling will be mine in the future, and when that point comes, there may be not anything you will be able to do approximately it. Task popular then, only female. You better watch yourself. Chi-Chi grinned deviously. Sparks of energy flew between each of the princesses' respective glares. It ended as soon as Chi-Chi subsequently left the region in her mom's wedding dress. Now, that wasn't he completely awkward or anything, Oolong sarcastically grimaced. Krillin sighed and bonked him on the top. Do not be so insensitive. That is hard on Goku too. He chastised the humanoid pig. I was just seeking to lighten the temper. Feeling conflicted over Chi-Chi's reaction, Goku scratched the back of his head and exhaled. He wasn't used to experiencing those sorts of feelings. What now, darling? Lum asked. I guess I will show you round Tablet Corp. I have not been there in some time, so it is probably sudden for me too, Goku stated. Seems like amusing. The alien female beamed. Before they might walk off, Goku looked closer to Dr. Brief, Pan-Chi, and Bulma for permission. Is that K with you, men? Go right in advance, Goku. We will end up the entirety over right here. Make certain Lum feels proper at home in the world. Dr. Short shooed him away. Bulma become about to item to her father's decision, but they already walked away. Will do. Allow us go, Lum. Coming. Lum hummed. As Goku walked to the tablet organization constructing S again entrance, Lum floated beside him in midair. You could have at the least had Goku help out a little bit with the cleanup. Observe all this food we've got left. Bulma cried out in dismay. Happily, a number of the wedding's former attendants were taking some bites out of the catering agency's food. It's why they may be called leftovers, dear. I am certain Goku will end eating 'em up at a later date. Maybe even day after today, Dr. Quick assumed. Yeah, fair sufficient. I simply feel bad for all the guests who came right here for nothing, Bulma whispered. Speaking of which, what need we do with Lum's little stalker fan membership? Cherry walked in front of Lum's stormtroopers and grabbed a hold in their shirts. I shall take them return to my fatherland, to Mabiki-cho. They all attend the excessive school there, so it should not take too long. Thank you, but no thank you. You really only who tousled this complete wedding in the first place. I guess you knew it turned into going to go incorrect from the start, didn't you? Bulma angrily accused. Perhaps. I am actually attracted to the forces of terrible luck on this global, and this wedding ceremony was brimming with it. 'Tis destiny at play as always, Cherry said be-counted of factly. He then rudely held out his hand in front of Bulma. Through the way, I will be wanting a few money for my offerings officiating this wedding ceremony, in particular for cab fare and all that. Bulma, shaking with anger, glared down at Cherry and literally kicked him all of the way returned to Tamabiki-cho. Drop dead, Bulma growled. Cherry, along Lum's stormtroopers, become flown through the air till they may now not be visible to the naked eye. Phew, I notion they in no way depart. Bulma sighed in remedy. With that out of the manner, let us easy all of this up pronto. Discussions have been held among attendants of the wedding as Bulma and the Z warring parties prepared to close it down. A number of the meals was still getting eaten, however without Goku, there would not be sufficient of an urge for food to consume it all. Then again, benches, chairs, and tables may want to nonetheless be placed away without tons effort. Now, given that Goku wasn't making plans to marry Chi-Chi whenever quickly, the route of his lifestyles has completely modified. He need to both choose between Lum, the hyperactive princess of planet Oni, or Chi-Chi, the loving, yet quick-tempered princess of Fire Mountain. Most effective destiny, as Cherry so aptly claimed, could be able to determine the exact choice Goku will become going with inside the destiny. But none of these thoughts were going through his head in the intervening time. All Goku desired to do was analyze greater approximately Lum and how she was a person. Master Roshi, then again, became thinking of her for a good deal distinctive reasons. I ponder if I may want to get her to stay at Kame House in some way, Roshi contemplated to himself. Launch, overhearing this, shot more than one rounds of bullets close to his toes. Get a flow on, Grandpa. We do not be given all day, she snapped. Roshi broke out into a nervous sweat. Stop it with the damn Uzi, Launch. You gonna kill someone one in all nowadays. I can in case you do not get your ass up and assist out, Release threatened. With that ultimate comment, Master Roshi hurriedly joined the alternative Z fighters in ultimate off Goku and Chi-Chi's former wedding. For now, its cutting-edge destiny and lifestyles become absolutely up within the air. All due to one single lady who had green hair and yellow horns that might shoot out strength. While Bulma and everyone else spent their time cleaning up the remains of Goku's former wedding ceremony, the martial artist in question showed Lum around Capsule Corp. They began with the building's atrium, a massive dome-like facility containing some sort of artificial environment. It housed a wide assortment of palm trees and even exotic animals such as dinosaurs. Other rooms constructed within this area were a sparring arena used for training purposes, mainly by Yamcha, Dr. Brief's laboratory, a central computer room that controlled everything in Capsule Corp as a whole, and many more. Lum, even with her own species' technological capabilities in mind, was in awe of this area. Amazing, she whispered. Her blue eyes sparkled with childlike wonder as she floated from place to place to get a closer look. Man, this place sure is a whole lot bigger than I thought. Goku sighed as he scratched the back of his head. Sorry if we happen to get lost by any chance, Lum. Like I said, I haven't really been here in a while. That's all right, darling. I don't mind. The Oni girl assured him. Her eyes then became a bit half-lidded. Plus, it gives us some more time to talk alone with each other. Goku didn't exactly like the look she was giving him. Sure, I guess that's true. What would you want to talk about? Anything, really. I want to know how you were as a child, more about your past adventures, your friends and so much more than that. Lum beamed as she struggled to contain her excitement. Small electric sparks could be seen shooting out of her horns. I want us to become as close as possible with each other, darling. I hope that's okay. Of course it is, Lum. I wouldn't have asked for you to stay here if I didn't right? Goku smiled. Lum blushed. There was something about his smile that just made her feel all warm and fuzzy inside. You're right. Thank you, Goku. No problem, Goku nodded. They continued strolling aimlessly along the atrium's guided walkway. I just wish we could have talked without that whole misunderstanding involved. I am still a bit worried about Chi-Chi right now. Lum froze. Her fangs clenched together at the mere mention of her new rival's name. She tried her best to hide it from Goku, though. Don't beat yourself up about it, darling. A marriage should be bound by the genuine love that a bride and groom share with one another. They should feel a love so deep and passionate that every hug, every kiss, every touch is nothing but pure bliss for four. Lum suddenly got caught up in her own romantic fantasies. A huge flush adorned her cheeks as she imagined her and Goku doing all sorts of unsavory things together. Goku blankly stared at the alien princess in confusion. He didn't have the slightest idea of what she was talking about. Lum. After a little bit of drool trickled down from her lips, Lum suddenly snapped back to reality. What I am trying to say is that a wedding shouldn't be held because of a promise you made many years before. Chi-Chi may have wanted to marry you, but did you? Goku crossed his arms in thought. Well, it seemed like something that would make her happy, so yeah, I guess. But, after hearing that short guy explain how marriage actually works, I kinda don't see myself being ready for that kind of thing. Not anytime soon, at least. And I am sure Chi-Chi will understand that with time. Just like I do now. Lum said. She then held a hand over her heart. That SYLL wait as long as it takes for you to be ready, so I can be your loving wife someday. But didn't you just say that you understood why? Before he could finish his sentence, Lum abruptly hugged Goku close to her, so she could caress his face. I do understand. That SYLL do everything to make you return my affections no matter what. She hugged him tighter, much to Goku's discomfort. I just want to rush it or do anything by force. With my alien registration permit, I have no plans of going anywhere, darling. Makes enough sense to me, I think. He muttered. He couldn't tell if Lum intended her statement as a promise, threat, or a weird mix of both. Could you let me go now, Lum? Fine, Lum grumbled. Goku parted from her body as she continued to levitate in midair. There was an ever so slight pout on her face. She really wanted to use Goku for just a little longer without the electric shocks, of course. So, anyway, what is your planet like, Lum? Is it anything similar to this? Oh, not at all. Onoboshi is mainly a yellow planet with black stripes. Our outfits are purposely designed to look like it. Lum explained, pointing to her respective bikini top. When I saw that Earth was almost completely blue with one big piece of land in its center, I didn't know what to think. It was so different. Yeah, this place is pretty chock full of surprises. I am glad I was able to explore most of it way back when. Goku chuckled. I'd love to explore more of it with you, darling. The Oni girl lovingly beamed. Please go on. Tell me one of your adventures. I am just dying to know how you got so strong. Goku stroked the side of his cheek. He didn't even know where to begin. I mean, there hasn't been a day where I haven't been getting stronger, Lum. It's kinda hard to sum all that up in one go. Then start from the beginning, at least. I can always hear the rest later from Bulma or one of your other friends, Lum asked. The beginning, huh? Goku muttered. He glanced over at Lum. Her big blue eyes were practically glistening from sheer wonder and curiosity. For some reason, it was difficult for him to look away. The martial artist ultimately caved in to Lum's request, even if thinking of his early childhood would bring back some painful memories. I guess it all started with my grandpa, Gohan. Goku recounted with a warm grin. He was the guy who raised me as a little kid. You mean you didn't have any parents? Lum gasped. Losing one parent was bad enough, but both of them. And at such a young age. She couldn't even begin to imagine where she'd be without her mother and father. Nope. I never even knew who they were or what they looked like. Goku shrugged absent-mindedly. Lum held a hand over her mouth. She floated close to Goku and hugged the side of his body. I am so sorry, darling. That must have been hard for you. Goku raised an eyebrow. Nah, it wasn't he. I may have not had a mom or dad like Bulma does, but Grandpa was always there for me. He taught me how to catch fish, how to survive in the woods, and, best of all, how to fight. I owe everything to him, really. Lum lightly giggled. Just from talking about this man for a few seconds, Goku's mood brightened up to its maximum capacity of happiness. It's as if being an orphan wasn't a hindrance for him in the slightest. I see. I can tell you loved him a lot. You bet. Even though he didn't have a tail like I did, he was still family to me. He was the best grandpa a guy could ask for. Lum tilted her head to the side, examining Goku's backside. Wait, tail? What do you mean by that, darling? Oh, right. I used to have a monkey tail a few years back. Sometimes I forget it isn't there anymore. Hee hee. Goku laughed. The Oni princess froze. Goku's black hair was beginning to seem oddly familiar in the worst way possible. She couldn't be too certain, but her suspicions were becoming more and more feasible by the second. Did her dad suspect the same thing during their game of tag? Was it by any chance brown and sorta bushy looking? Lam inquired in a hesitant tone. Goku looked surprised. Yeah, it was, actually. How do you guess? Lam froze again. She quickly darted around the room for a proper excuse. This came in the form of an actual monkey that was climbing in one of the atrium's specially planted trees. That creature over there has that kind of tail, so I just assumed yours was the same. Teehee, she giggled awkwardly. Welp, you assumed right then. I've had it taken off a few times, but while it used to grow back, I think it's gone for good now. Probably cause Kami was the one who removed it this time. Now, it was Lam's turn to be confused once again. Kami. Correct me if I am wrong, darling, but does that mean you talk to Earth's god? He's more like the Earth's guardian, but yeah, pretty much. He was my latest martial arts instructor. If you're wondering why I was so fast during our match, you can thank him for the most part. Oh, so he's the reason you can fly like I do. I get it now. Lam nodded in realization. But I'd probably understand more if we didn't jump around to such a later point in your life. That's my fault. No worries. We can go back to the beginning, if you want. Goku brushed her apology aside. Although, there's not much left to tell. For Grandpa, he was with me at one moment in time and then he was gone just like that. Gone. As in, I think so. I am still not entirely positive what happened, but I just remember looking up at the full moon one night and then waking up the next morning without any clothes. And my grandpa just wasn't there anymore. Goku reminisced in slight sadness. I spent hours and hours looking for him, but he never came back. I had to fend for myself another 6 years after that. Goku looked down at his feet, frowning. Lam didn't quite know what to say in that moment. On one hand, she was incredibly sad that Goku had to go through such pain and loneliness in his life, but on the other hand, she was terrified of the implications his story brought up. She had heard many stories from Mr. Invader about a race of monkey-tailed warriors who could transform upon looking up at the full moon. He even recounted a time when these barbarous conquerors attempted to invade Onoboshi in the name of Lord Frieza. Of course, he ended up taking control of her home world, regardless, but it wasn't by that aforementioned race's hand in the end. In fact, according to him, they were all rendered extinct by some giant asteroid of all things. But if that were truly the case, then why did Goku display characteristics of the Saiyans her father was so deathly afraid of? It brought up far more questions than answers. Is that why Darling didn't know his parents? Because he's not originally from Earth just like me? Lam thought. She suddenly peered at Goku in a new, more sympathetic light. In spite of his tragic upbringing, he displayed a kind, carefree attitude that was unique to him and him alone. It made her want to maintain his happiness above all else. For that very reason, Lam was fiercely determined to never forego her feelings for him. All of her prior relationships, even the one with her ex-boyfriend, Ray, didn't matter anymore. Goku was the boy she wanted to be with and the only princess wouldn't settle for anything less. That's awful, darling. You must have been so lonely, Lam murmured. She floated down to gently wrap her arms around Goku's once again. This time, Goku didn't show any resistance to her touch. He just smiled assuredly and kept walking. I was a little, but I got used to it after a while. Besides, without being on Mount Powju, I wouldn't have met Bulma and gone on our first search for the Dragon Balls. Lam glanced at Goku. Dragon Balls? They re these 7 orange balls that Kami created a long time ago. Each one has red stars that indicate their designated number like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Goku explained. When you gather them all together, this ginormous dragon named Shenron will be summoned and he'll be able to grant you any wish you can think of. Pretty cool, huh? Oh yes. It sounds absolutely incredible, darling. Lam nodded her head in sheer awe. It's even better up close. Me, Bulma, and the others have seen Shenron be summoned a few times now. All sorts of bad guys were after their power. Really? Have you been granted a wish before? Yep, but only once. I used them to bring my friend, Bora, back from the dead. He was killed by this tough fighter named Mercenary Tao, so I needed to make it up to his son, Upper, somehow. Goku reminisced about the consequences of his past encounter with Tao. I was relieved that they were able to reunite in the end. Haha. Lum lovingly giggled. That was very selfless of you, Goku. I am glad you care about your friends so much. Of course, I do. I wouldn't be where I am today without them, especially Bulma. She has been supporting me from the beginning and I am really grateful for that, Goku replied. Lum Slghtly frowned. She was beginning to feel a tad bit suspicious about the extent of Bulma and Goku's closeness in their friendship. She felt guilty for thinking this way, but it wouldn't hurt to ask. How close would you say you are with Bulma, darling? Lum asked. Well, we've been on adventures together for as long as I can remember, so I'd say pretty close. She's about 4 years older than me, but we don't have any trouble talking to each other or anything. Goku described the circumstances of his long-held friendship with the Capsule Corp heiress. Though, I'd say she's a bit closer with my friend, Yamcha. I think they're still in a relationship right now. Lum sighed in relief. She was happy that Bulma wouldn't serve as additional competition for Goku's heart. That's good to know. She seems like a nice woman. Well, she is most of the time, but when you get her mad or annoyed, Bulma can have a pretty bad temper. My master, Roshi, and Oolong experience that side of her more than anyone, Goku noted. He then grew slightly nervous. Don't tell her I said that. Hee. Don't worry, darling. My lips are sealed. Lum laughed. She depicted the action of zipping her lips together with her fingers. Huh? Then how were you talking just now? Goku inquired obliviously. This response caused Lum to laugh even harder. She parted from Goku's body and clutched her stomach in midair. I think that's what you Earthlings call a figure of speech, silly. Ha ha ha. Ooh right. Whoops. Goku smiled goofily as he scratched the back of his head. He still didn't quite understand what she was implying, but went along with it anyway. Hee. That's all right, darling. Lum beamed. She floated next to Goku and gave him a small peck on the cheek. I love talking with you like this. A little zap of electricity was ignited from Lum's lips. Goku gently rubbed the spot in surprise, but he didn't complain about it. I like talking with you too, Lum, he muttered. Getting kisses from Lum and Chi-Chi on the same day was difficult to take in for him. The martial artist couldn't quite tell what feelings to experience in that moment, but nonetheless, they were far from negative. Hearing these words, the alien princess's heart was sent aflutter. It beat against her chest like a bass drum as she grinned from ear to ear. The sparks of electricity coursing through her body were becoming more and more difficult to suppress. I am so glad you said that. My Lum could no longer contain her excitement. Darling. She practically pounced on Goku and gave him a tight bear hug. Goku's body was inadvertently consumed by torrents of yellow lightning, causing his hair to stand on end and his teeth to clench together. Oh, man. Not Agaron. He yelped from literal shock. Lum wrapped her legs around Goku's torso to make the embrace even stronger. This, consequently, made the onslaught of electric surges significantly more potent and expansive throughout Goku's frame. After a few more seconds of this static cling, Goku's entire GI was burnt to a crisp. Lum, none the wiser to this effect, nestled her head underneath his chin and smiled in contentment. You make me so happy, darling. I've never felt this comfortable and close with someone before. Lum sighed. Her cheeks blushed a rosy red as she rubbed her head against Goku's chest. Well, maybe we should be a little less close together next time. Is that okay? Goku said woozily. Lum blinked a few times, realizing what just happened. Oh no. I am so sorry, darling. Lum cried. She helped Goku stand back up on his feet and inspected the damages. The GI, thankfully, was mostly intact, but there were various burns and tears in a few places. Sometimes I elicit electric shockwaves when I am extremely happy, sad, or upset. I guess I lost control of it this time around. I hope you can forgive me. She explained in guilt. Goku brushed some stray pieces of ash off of his body, grinning. It's nothing to be upset about, Lum. It doesn't really hurt at all. Are you sure, darling? That amount of electricity in one dose could have been lethal if... All of a sudden, Goku grabbed Lum by the hand and set her down on the ground. They were now staring at each other face to face, much to Lum's surprise and embarrassment. Don't you worry about it, Lum. I've dealt with much worse than that, believe me. Goku stated with a sincere smile. Now, how about we finish up this tour of Capsule Corp, and then have some dinner with Bulma and her folks later on. Does that sound okay? Lum stood there for a moment, starstruck. She could barely look away from Goku's kind, yet firm gaze. Why yes, darling, I am fine with whatever you decide. She held her hands on both cheeks to hide the deep flush adorning them. Small sparks were ever so slightly shooting out from her green hair as well. Great. Then let us head to the sparring arena next. I've always wanted to see what it looks like, Goku said. He then walked along the path leading to the aforementioned location. Lum floated in place. She studied the back of Goku's head and frowned in sheer determination. Saiyan or not, I won't let anyone else have him. Yes, my darling, and no girl, Chi-Chi included, will get in the way of that. She then held a hand over her still beating heart and followed after Goku. They still had a lot left of the building to explore together, so Lum would make every second count. Several hours later. At night, a huge thunderstorm permeated all throughout the skies of West City. Bulma, thankfully, was able to close out the ceremony before any lightning struck, so everyone managed to leave without any considerable delay. She even salvaged the remaining leftovers for Goku, Lum, and her family to eat for dinner. However, one particular guest refused to depart the premises of Capsule Corp. Climbing atop a nearby hill, a badly bruised Cherry emerged from the distance. It appeared that Bulma's roundhouse kick didn't deter him from following his so-called fate in the slightest. Droplets of rain poured down on the old monk as he propped himself up with his shakujo. He gasped for breath, feeling completely exhausted after walking miles and miles just to get back here. That stubborn girl thinks she can get rid of me so easily. Well, I am afraid fate has other plans, Cherry shouted. He then adjusted the position of his hat to look up at the clouds. Loud claps of thunder boomed from one cloud to another in quick succession, much to his dismay. I sense something terrible will happen to that family any moment now, he grimaced. Attempting to alter the state of their misfortune, Cherry held up his staff close to the heavens and screamed like a madman. Gyah! A bolt of lightning struck the monk in an instant, causing his entire body to be burnt to a crisp. His bald, rotund head sizzled with a mix of smoke and ash. Some of his teeth seemed to be missing too. Why yes. Truly awful indeed, he stammered. Pieces of his tattered clothes were burnt to cinders directly afterwards. Luckily for himself and everyone else, he wasn't rendered completely naked. Inside of Capsule Corp's kitchen. Goku, Lum, Bulma, and the Brief S were all seated at the dinner table. Everyone received their fair share of food from the prior wedding reception, but Goku, of course, had far more plates in front of him than everyone else. As per usual, he was wolfing them down at speeds rivaling light itself. A whole plate of food would be empty in the very next second or so, and Goku would continue repeating the same process. Punchi and Dr. Brief couldn't even touch their own meals. They were far too transfixed by the massacre taking place in front of them. Lum, on the other hand, rested a hand on her cheek and watched Goku eat in admiration. Bulma was not as pleased. Having been used to witnessing this behavior time and time again, it was starting to get a little old for her tastes. She loudly cleared her throat. Okay, Goku. I think you've had enough for tonight. Goku stopped to look at her in confusion. He swallowed a stream of noodles and set his chopsticks down. What do you mean, Bulma? I am just getting started. I get that your monster of a stomach has room for another few servings, but I think having a conversation with Lum is a bit more important. We haven't even been able to exchange a single sentence with her. Oh, I don't mind, dear. I can wait until Goku is finished, Punchi said. I agree. The boy's been through a lot today, so I say let him eat as much as he wants. Dr. Brief added while smoking a freshly lit cigarette. Scratch was still propped on top of his shoulder. But Lum's going to be staying with us for a while, guys. Don't you want her to feel comfortable here? Lum smiled. I am already comfortable enough, Bulma. Darling was a great tour guide, so I think I'll be used to this place in no time. If you say so. Bulma shrugged. She rested a hand on her chin. There is still a lot left to learn about culture on Earth, though. Goku doesn't he exactly live the most ordinary life, you know. I am aware of that, yes. I certainly wish to see more of what this planet is like. From what Darling told me about his past adventures, there is a lot of interesting things to see. Lum beamed in excitement. Interesting isn't the exactly the way I'd describe them, but sure. However, there is still some actually, a lot of stuff that Goku won't be very experienced with. He is a guy, after all. Bulma pointed out. I didn't think of that. Lum whispered. She then scooched her chair closer to Goku's, so she could rest her head on his shoulder. That can wait, though. For now, I want to spend time with Darling above all else. I appreciate that, Lum. Hee. Goku nervously chuckled. Lightning abruptly struck the ground outside, causing the lights inside Capsule Corp to flicker on and off. Oh my. I didn't think the weather would get this bad today, Punchi commented. Dr. Brief looked up from his newspaper and shook his head. I am not surprised. That damn forecast is rarely ever correct, dear. Good thing this didn't happen during the wedding. Chi-Chi would have been even more devastated than she already is. Bulma winced. She hoped the Ox Princess was doing a little better than before. Goku frowned. He suddenly lost a little of his appetite. Oh right. You think I should go visit her tomorrow or something? Lum puffed up her cheeks. Pretending that black-haired witch didn't exist was getting progressively more difficult. She'd be sure to be particularly close to Goku whenever Chi-Chi grew bold enough to show herself. That's a bad idea, Goku. Giving her some much-needed space is all you can really do for her right now. Bulma advised. She noticed Lum ever so slightly smirk for a split second, much to her annoyance. I guess you're right, he said, slumping his shoulders. I think I am done eating, Mrs. Brief. Thanks for reheating all of that for me. My pleasure, sweetie. If you need any more, just ask, Punchi chirped. She then gathered each plate off the table and rigorously washed them all in the sink. Maybe I can try cooking for you next time, darling. I'd be more than happy to show you some of Onaboshi's delicacies, Lum offered. Goku immediately cheered up at the prospect of eating alien food in the future. Sounds great. Is the food there similar in any way? Well, I wouldn't say it as similar, but an even bigger lightning bolt could be heard from outside. This time, the entire Capsule Corp building started to shake from side to side. Goku winced. He hadn't seen a storm this bad since the last time the Dragon Balls were summoned. Yikes. You don't think there is a chance that lightning could actually hit us, right? Dr. Brief peeked his head out from his newspaper. No need to worry, my boy. The chances of lightning striking us are practically slim to none. As if they were plagued by a sudden case of cruel irony, a larger-than-average lightning bolt struck through Capsule Corp's ceiling and slammed directly into the kitchen table. It exploded on impact, causing everyone to go flying in different directions. Gwah! Before the explosion could fully consume everything in sight, Goku grabbed a hold of Lum and protectively held her close to his chest in the corner of the room. Everything else was concealed by a clump of smoke that damaged the entire kitchen as a whole. Bulma, Dr. Brief, and Punchi were all stunned speechless. They were covered in scorch marks and tattered rags that used to be clothing. Well, I did say slim, Dr. Brief stuttered. The cigarette in his mouth disintegrated as he quickly fell unconscious. Poor Scratch was rendered a living ball of fuzz as a result. She coughed. In the corner, Goku still held onto Lum's body. They seemed to be the only ones who weren't all that affected by the lightning strike. Darling, Lum squeaked out. She grew embarrassed by how tightly Goku was holding onto her. You okay, Lum? Goku asked. The Oni princess face was completely red. Subconsciously, she was screaming and dancing with pure joy that such a moment took place. Lum meekly nodded her head. Yes. I am okay thanks to you. Good. Goku then parted from their embrace, much to Lam's chagrin and present longing. He looked at the ruined kitchen in surprise. Man, that must have been one big lightning bolt. Is everyone all right? Bulma balled her fists in anger. Her blue hair was standing on end and covered with piles upon piles of ash. You call this all right? My beautiful blue hair, it's all ruined. Bulma screamed as she comically burst into tears. She then grabbed a hold of Goku's GI and started shaking her friend for dear life. Why didn't you knock me out of the way too, Goku? Why? Tell me why. I dunno, Bulma, I dunno. Lam was the closest person to me at the time. I am sorry. Goku frantically apologized. Pan-Chi gently walked up to her daughter and pulled her away from Goku. Calm down, dear. Your looks are the least of our concerns right now, she proclaimed. The blonde-haired woman then looked up. What are we going to do about that hole in the ceiling? Bulma took a deep breath and inspected it. Like Pan-Chi described, it was a large crack in the ceiling that multiple raindrops were leaking out from. I am pretty sure we have enough money to pay for that, Mom, but Bulma paused. She noticed a large object in the ground where the kitchen table once stood. What in the hell is that? Everyone gathered around the object. It appeared to be a larger than usual, pink-white peach with a brown tag sticking out. A peach? Pan-Chi wondered. Goku, being instinctively drawn to anything that bared the slightest resemblance to food, picked the peach up and inspected it. It says, to Son Goku from the Nerima Ward. Did you order me something, Lum? Goku inquired. Afraid not, darling. I am just as confused as you are. Lum shook her head. Bulma inspected it as well. Is this a type of food native to your planet then? I suppose it could be. I am not sure if it's exactly intended to be eaten. Lum shrugged her shoulders. It does look pretty tasty, though. Welp, it wouldn't hurt to try. I could go for one last thing, Goku said. He rubbed his stomach and prepared to chop the peach into pieces with his hand. Don't be greedy, Goku. Our meals were destroyed by that lightning strike, so we'll all get a piece of it, Bulma snapped. Goku sighed in reluctance. All right, I'll give each of us an equal share. He positioned himself in front of the peach and focused his energy. With one single chop, he severed the top of the fruit in two, resulting in an explosion of light that sent Goku crashing into the wall. Oof! He yelped. Although he didn't suffer any injuries, the wall suffered a few noticeable cracks and protrusions. To everyone's growing intrigue, the peach slowly began to hatch like an egg. Cracks protruded throughout the peach's surface until it was completely split into two semicircular halves. Inside was a little boy with green hair and a yellow horn similar to Lum's. His body resembled that of a human toddler, but the only clothing he had on was tiger-skinned underwear with black stripes. Huh, didn't expect to end up in a weird place like this, the boy muttered. His eyes were exactly the same as Lum's in terms of color. Lum sported a look of sheer delight. Ten, come over here, Ten, it's me. Ten? Goku asked. Ten closed his eyes and smiled widely. Lum. He then jumped off the ground and slowly floated towards Lum. However, Lum didn't exactly describe it as such. Oh, you quick. Lum beamed in encouragement. She clapped at him as if he were doing some sort of performance. Yeah, Ten replied, floating closer to Lum's open arms. You fast. Yeah, he doesn't really seem that fast to me, Goku commented in obliviousness. Ten stopped dead in his tracks to glare at the martial artist. What? Are you saying I am slow then? He glowered. Compared to Lum, I'd say you are. But I am sure with enough training, you'll get better at it. Goku stated his honest opinion. Ten crossed his arms, inspecting Goku's body from head to toe. HMPH. Is this fast enough for you? He snorted. The little Oni took a deep breath and shot a blast of orange fire directly at Goku. Whoa! In the nick of time, Goku was able to dissolve the fire with a single wave of his hand. He didn't receive a single burn or scratch from the attack. Wah! Ten gawped. He quickly floated toward Lum and nestled himself in her arms. So I am guessing he's the Son Goku guy you're going to marry, right? He asked. That's right. Lum winked at him with a playful smile. Everyone, this is my cousin, Ten. It's very nice to meet you. Ten bowed his head. He drew his eyes toward Bulma and Panchi while completely ignoring Dr. Brief's entire existence. You both really pretty. Ah, isn't he just precious? Teehee. Panchi clapped her hands in glee. At least someone can appreciate my good looks around here, unlike a certain desert bandit. Bulma grumbled. She had a feeling Yamcha's little group of fangirls were getting to his head a bit. It's been a long time since he last complimented her, so Ten, despite being a kid, was a nice change of pace. Goku leaned forward to get a better look at the Oni boy. Cousin, huh? I was going to assume he was your little brother or something. Well, you technically wouldn't be wrong. We're as close as siblings usually are. Lum replied. She then looked down at her cousin. What brings you here, anyway, Ten? I heard a rumor that you found a good husband on this planet called Earth, so I said to myself, this I gotta see. And set out on my spaceship. Ten explained the circumstances behind his arrival. It was a long, hard voyage for a little kid, but I made it. Impressive. Reminds me of the time Bulma repaired and piloted Jacko's ship when she was 5. Dr. Brief stated. He couldn't believe that happened 18 years ago. Ten's eyes began to sparkle from amazement. That's so cool. You must be super intelligent, miss. Well, I don't mean to brag, but thanks, kid. It all comes down to having good genes. Bulma jerked a thumb at herself in pride. I am both incredibly smart and incredibly beautiful. But not incredibly modest, I am afraid, Lum muttered under her breath. Bulma may have been pretty, sure, but in her opinion, she was far superior in regards to appearance. Goku scrunched up his face. I am a bit lost here. Who's this Jacko person? Oh, he's nothing important. He's just this weird galactic patrol guy who used to hang out with my older sister, Tights. I prefer not to talk about it, Bulma said. The galactic patrol was here before. That's surprising. Lum stated. They've visited Onoboshi a few times, but apart from that, I've rarely seen them on duty. Fair. Probably because they're too scared of Lord HMPH. Lum placed a hand over Ten's mouth to stop him from talking. Goku looked incredibly confused by this action. The alien girl just gave him a sheepish grin before leaning close to Ten's ear. I think it'd be best if you don't mention anything about him here, Ten. I don't want any of them to panic or get worried about what's happening out there, especially darling. You're probably right. I am getting really scared just thinking about that creep, he gulped. His body slightly shivered as if a literal chill went down his spine. Thanks, Ten. Lum whispered in gratitude. The two of them then awkwardly turned back around to continue their conversation with Goku and the others. Everything okay, Lum? Goku asked. Yup. We were just discussing Ten's current living arrangements. She lied, which, admittedly, hurt a bit to do so casually. I would like to stay here with Lum for a while. Is that all right? Of course, sweetheart. You can stay here in Capsule Corp for as long as you like. Thank you so much. Hee hee. Ten giggled. He floated over to Panchi and snuggled against her chest. Wait, what? But Panchi, we don't have the proper resources to accommodate a child, let alone an alien one. Dr. Brief protested. They still had a pretty large hole in the ceiling to fix up, after all. Oh, nonsense. Any family of Lum-S is welcome here, and that's final. Panchi clicked her tongue as she hugged Ten tighter. I am sure Bulma agrees. Right, dear. Bulma nodded her head. As long as he stays in Lum-S UFO, then yeah, I don't see why not. You just need to remember that this stay is temporary, alright? No worries, Bulma. I'll keep my word as promised, Lum said. Good to know. Bulma smiled. She then looked out the window, seeing that the thunderstorm mysteriously disappeared once Ten hatched from his peach. Looks like it's getting late. I am exhausted from all that reorganizing today. She let out a big yawn, which was seemingly contagious when it came to both Lum and Ten. You want me to head back to Mount Powdew then? Goku asked. Nah, that's not necessary. You can crash here if you want, Goku. You can take the guest room. Bulma offered. She playfully smirked at him. Besides, it wouldn't he be right for Lum to wake up in the morning without you around? You are her darling, after all. Oh, man. Don't you go starting it now. The martial artist sighed. For some reason, he only felt comfortable with Lum saying it. It sounded odd coming from anyone else. Couldn't he help myself? Hee hee. The capsule corp heiress snickered. She then turned toward Lum's cousin. It was nice meeting you, 10. Likewise, Miss Bulmer. It'll be a real pleasure seeing you again. 10 cutely beamed. He floated toward the female scientist and gave her a hug. Lum, noticing that 10 was enjoying Bulmer's chest a bit too much, shook her head and sighed. Oh boy. 10's interest in older woman is going to get him into trouble one of these days. I am sure of it. 10 then left Bulmer's arms and reconvened with his cousin. Good night, everyone. See you in the morning, Lum shouted. Good night, pretty ladies and smelly old guy 10 said, his expression souring at the sight of Bulmer's father. Dr. Brief slumped his shoulders in abject offense as Scratch tried her best to comfort him. Good night. Goku rested his hand on Lum's shoulder. I'll walk with you guys outside. I kinda want to see what your UFO looks like. Sure, darling. I'd love to show you. Lum chirped. 10 skeptically stared at Goku, trying to look for any potential flaws he could use to his advantage. As Lum floated through the front door, 10 levitated himself in front of Goku's face. I am watching you, Goku. I am here to ensure Lum's happiness, so you better not hurt her in any way, you got that? The little Oni threatened. Goku blinked a few times, uncertain of what to make of this exchange. I am not really that kind of guy, 10. I have no intention of hurting Lum at all. She's my friend. 10 quirked a brow, suspicious. Friend? Don't you mean fiancé or wife? You proposed to her, didn't you? It's a bit complicated, but if you were put it like that, then yeah, I guess she's my fiancé in a sense. Goku stumbled over his words a bit. The point is that I do care about her. I hope you'll be able to trust me when I say that. 10 floated around Goku's body like a planet in orbit. On top of his immense power, it appeared that he was genuinely a decent guy. After all, anyone with Bulma as a friend could be too bad. I'll accept you, I guess. I am just glad you're not some perverted scumbag who takes a sweet girl like Lum for granted. Nah, that'd be someone like my master, Roshi. I don't think you'd want to meet him when Lum's around. Ha ha. Goku chuckled. I'll just blast him with my fire breath if he does anything then. Hee hee. 10 giggled back. The two of them then made it back to the outdoor plaza where his and Chi-Chi's wedding was previously held. Lum was standing right where the procession took place a few hours ago. Goku placed a hand over his forehead to look up at the night sky. So, you said your UFO is somewhere in the upper atmosphere, right? MMHM. I just have to call upon it and it'll be right where we are. With a snap of her fingers, the Oni spaceship shot back to Earth in a beam of yellow energy. It was a large, circular disk with tiger stripes on top and a black-red module on the bottom. This module could shoot blasts of yellow electricity whenever the UFO was in danger. Wow. It definitely matches your guys' outfits. Duh. It has pretty much an Oni trademark. 10 scoffed. He placed a hand over his mouth once he saw the stink eye Lum was giving him. You'll have to show me what it looks inside when you get the chance. Or Lum whispered. She snaked her arms around Goku's and began to suggestively bat her eyelashes. You could see what it looks like now by sleeping up there with me. What do you say? 10 glanced from Goku to Lum in growing discomfort. He had a feeling he was going to vomit if this went on any longer. Thanks for the offer, Lum, but I think it'd be better if I sleep at Capsule Corp. You should spend some time with your cousin for tonight. I second that motion. 10 chimed in. Lum pouted in disappointment, but she did agree with what Goku was saying. She just couldn't help herself around him. Oh, all right. It was worth a shot, anyway. He waved both of them off. Good night then, guys. Hope your first time on Earth didn't turn out too bad. I'll hold any further judgments until later on, but so far, it's definitely worth learning more about. Good night, Goku. 10 waved back. He then floated towards the entrance of the ship, but stopped once he realized that Lum wasn't budging. "Hey, Lum. Are you going to let me into the—" In the blink of an eye, Lum wrapped her arms around Goku and gave him a big hug. This time, however, no sparks of electricity were emitted. It was just a normal embrace filled with the utmost affection. "Lum, good night, my Goku. I cherished every moment we spent together today. I hope you'll be able to feel the same way, eventually," Lum lovingly murmured. She then kissed him on the cheek and floated inside of the UFO with 10. The UFO then shot back into outer space, resting near the uppermost atmosphere of Earth until Lum needed to return. Goku stood there, dumbfounded. Lum was proving to be far more affectionate towards him than he ever expected. He wasn't exactly sure how Chi-Chi would be able to cope with it. Oh well, it's only the first day. What else could happen after that? Goku sighed. He then crossed both arms around his head and walked back over to Capsule Corp, preparing to get some well-deserved shut-eye. Little did he know, everything was the universal answer to his last question. 10, unfortunately, would prove to be the least of his and Lum's worries when it came to obnoxious aliens from outer space. Upon arriving again at Fire Mountain, Chi-Chi wouldn't pop out of her room for hours. She becomes sincerely too distraught with the aid of what passed off at her and Goku's wedding to do something, not to mention speak matters over together with her father. The poor woman could not even bear to take off her mother's wedding dress. This become purported to be the happiest day of her complete lifestyles, yet it somehow have become the exact opposite. And it become all because of her. Simply taking into account Lum's conceited, doe-eyed expression made the princess seethe with unbridled rage. She tightly beaten her bouquet of flora and growled beneath breath. "Error! That no right hussy gets what's coming to her. I swear it." She then heard a gentle knock on the door, inflicting her to sigh and loosen up. "You don't have to maintain checking up on me, Dad. I advised you I am all right." Ox King opened the door and walked in. He looked upon his daughter in sadness, knowing complete properly that she became no longer, in fact, okay. He sat next to Chi-Chi on the mattress and softly rubbed her again. "Are we able to simply communicate approximately it? I recognize losing your chance with Goku like that become. I did now not lose Goku to that obnoxious, pea-brained, condescending bimbo, Daddy. She handiest made him rethink his promise to me. It's all." She crossed her hands and appeared away indignantly. "Okay, let me rephrase that. I recognize that Goku's promise to you became essential. You don't have to conceal that from me." Ox King spoke back. He then gently chuckled in an attempt to cheer her up. "I suggest, see Morn now. I am your expensive vintage dad. You can tell me whatever, proper." Chi-Chi commenced to tremble a touch. She becomes struggling to maintain her difficult facade for plenty longer. "Proper." A few stray tears fell from the young woman's eyes as she clung onto her father for pricey lifestyles. She then commenced to cry, plenty to Ox King's chagrin and moderate remedy. Why did Lum have to expose up on my wedding day of all matters? If it weren't for her and that hideous-looking bald dwarf, Goku, and that I should have might have been. Ox King buried her face into his chest and said, "Shush. I know, Chi-Chi. It wasn't honest what passed off earlier. Consider me, I was just as disenchanted as you were. However, look on the brilliant aspect." "What shiny facet?" the woman grumbled in response. Her company pout became the splitting photo of her mom's in that moment. "You really have a threat to hang around with Goku and get to realize him as someone. I mean, other than that one date you had with each different and some short, but candy moments after that, you definitely didn't spend a great deal time with the man." Chi-Chi rolled her eyes. "I am well conscious, Dad. I told Goku that myself. Consider. It still would not make what occurred any much less painful. He the man I love and not anything going to change that, no longer even a few alien cow with green hair." Ox King nervously scratched the back of his head. He had to word his words with a bit more tact this time. "Exactly right. That's why you shouldn't be giving up so without problems. You still have a risk to overcome Lum at her personal game and win Goku's coronary heart eager about yourself," he exclaimed. "In any case, Lum has even less of an attachment to Goku than you do. You have already got the home group advantage, sweetie. Chi-Chi wiped her black eyes and smiled. You surely think so? Of root. The exceptional Ox King failed to enhance a quitter now, did he? The former martial artist requested. Chi-Chi tightly balled her fists and beamed with newfound self-belief. She was formally returned to her vintage self once more. No, you failed too, she murmured. She then leapt up and gave her father an affectionate kiss at the cheek. Thanks, Daddy. Do not point out it. Ox King chuckled. Now, move, get some sleep. You will want to be nicely rested in your assembly with Goku the next day. Right. She wasn't initially making plans to go to Goku once more so soon, but given how decided Lum became to spend every waking moment with him, determined times called for determined measures. Carrying her martial arts GI might additionally make her ability altercation with the Oni less one-sided, as a minimum. Preventing in a wedding dress simply wouldn't pass well at all. Even though, she did find the get dressed rather comfy and soothing in a manner. Carrying it felt as though her mom, Ox King's spouse, became there looking over her. Do you thoughts if I still preserve Mother's get dressed on? Just for this night? Chi-Chi requested. Listening to this turned into starting to make Ox King a touch emotional himself. He held back his personal bittersweet tears and shuffled over to the bedroom door. Sure, honey. That's best with me, he whispered. Good night. Good night. After Ox King shut the door behind him and left, Chi-Chi tucked herself below the covers of her mattress and appeared up at the ceiling. She held both arms above her chest, frowning. Don't worry, Goku. I might not be giving up on you anytime quickly. Lum won't get between us for too lengthy. The Princess of Fireplace Mountain then speedy rested her head at the pillow and fell asleep. Thankfully, due to her father's little pep talk, she wouldn't be crying herself to sleep as planned. She, on the contrary, had a lot to be satisfied about. Inside Lum's UFO, Lum's spaceship turned into circular in design with steel red modules and a couple of, as a substitute, huge laptop displays. There have been also some distinctive knobs, keyboards, and switches that activated the alien ship's numerous features, a number of which blanketed near instantaneous teleportation and the projection of yellow lightning bolts. On the ground, there was additionally a fur rug that became crafted from some sort of extraterrestrial tiger or similar creature. It, glaringly, matched each Ten and Lum's respective outfits in phrases of design. Lum herself was laying atop this rug and watching one of the ship's monitors. It displayed Goku as he innocently snored away in his mattress at Tablet Corp. A good deal to her perverse pride, he wasn't carrying his GI at the moment of night. Hearing her girlishly swoon and snort at Goku's muscular frame became starting to get on Ten's nerves. He floated in the front of the screen to get his cousin's attention. Don't you suspect this is a bit creepy, Lum? The Oni princess blinked a few times in confusion. It turned into like she simply wakened from a vibrant trance of a few kind. How so? Is it creepy to appreciate how handsome and strong my darling is? Ten peered on the display screen. A touch bit of drool was coming out of Goku's mouth as he tossed and grew to become in his sleep. When he's sleeping like that, sure, it's far. Lum just smiled and patted him on the top. Or, don't be silly, Ten. I am sure you may apprehend it higher while you re-older. She giggled. The attraction among a man and a girl is a totally complex feeling. Ten swatted her hand away and hyped up his chest. HMPH. I understand it just first rate. The younger Oni grumbled. I just do not get how he is so sturdy. My fireplace did not even go away so much as a scratch on him. Lum rested a hand on her chin in challenge. She had a sense Goku's alien origins might come up in communique in some unspecified time in the future. Properly, I used to be simply that means to talk to you about that. Although he can also look human, I agree with darling would possibly absolutely be a Saiyan. Ten's skin surprisingly paled. He turned his head from the photograph of Goku to Lum in brief succession, unable to understand what become simply said to him. Saiyan? Are you sure approximately that? I thought the ones monkey-tailed bullies have been all worn out by using a few massive asteroid. She nodded. Nicely, a majority of them had been wiped out, yes, however some survivors have been recognized to nonetheless exist. and I am afraid that Goku is possibly considered one of them. He once had a monkey tail as a kid, transformed beneath the overall moon, or even has their substantial urge for food. All signs and symptoms factor to him being a Saiyan, rather than an Earthling like he believes. The younger Oni gulped. He floated subsequent to Lum and got a better have a look at Goku's bodily look. The black spiky hair looked at, of course, however his attitude definitely did no longer. However, it is so bizarre, Lum. Aren't the Saiyans normally violent barbarians who take something that doesn't belong to them via force? Goku's not like that in any respect. You are proper. He isn't always, she said with a heat, affectionate smile on her face. He nevertheless likes to fight like every other Saiyan, yet has the kindness and carefree mindset passed right down to him through his grandpa. I cannot assist, however, be pleased about that. Wager so. Maybe his studies on the planet made him much less opposed and aggressive than standard. Could be. He is friends with quite a few good humans here and Chi-Chi. Lum grumbled under her breath. The much less said approximately her new rival, the better. That is why I want you to vow me something. 10. He tilted his head to the side in curiosity. Promise what? The princess held out her pinky finger in front of 10's face. Promise me which you 1T point out anything approximately the Saiyans to darling. Someone as harmless and candy as him would not want to recognize about the pain his species brought about, mainly given that he probably killed his personal grandfather via reworking right into her extremely good ape. 10's eyes widened to their most capability. He did not see that coming at all. What? In the course of a complete moon? Lum rubbed one of her hands sympathetically. Yes. He has no concept it happened both. I am assuming Bulma and the others do, however no longer him. Yeesh. Negative man. 10 winced. He then smiled and glued out his personal pinky. High quality then. I will be a very good boy and promise to keep it a mystery from Goku. You may agree with me. Afterwards, they formally crossed their pinkies together, giving Lum a moderate, albeit quick, experience of comfort. Thanks so much, 10. Something for you, Lum. Hee. He chuckled whilst jerking a thumb over at the nonetheless energetic laptop display screen. Now, we will let the large lug sleep in peace and call it a night. I am searching ahead to seeing Bulma and her pretty mother again. Lum shook her head and sighed. Of course, Yuri. Howdy. They had been simply truly first-class women, Lum. That is all I meant through that. 10 cried as a little bit of fire shot out his mouth. Certain. Anything you are saying? She levitated over to the PC and were given one last have a look at Goku's sleeping form. She became surely searching forward to the day they might proportion the same mattress together. For now, however, she had to bide her time and wait that second to transpire. Lum rested a hand over her Goku's face and blew a kiss at him. See you within the morning, darling. The display then shut off as the two Onis were given into their drowsing positions and called it a night time. Little did they understand, tomorrow changed into certain to be more chaotic and eventful than they had ever counted on it to be. And that would all end result from a sure orange spacecraft getting ready to land in the world inside some hours or so. The next morning back at Capsule Corp, no person, apart from some of the personnel, had woken up but handiest the muffled sounds of Goku's loud night breathing will be heard amongst the on the whole quiet, non-violent constructing. This silence, but, changed into interrupted by a chain of loud knocks at the front door. They persevered to come to be louder and more incessant as time advanced. It have become so irksome, in reality, that Bulma simply barely controlled to pressure herself off the bed and stroll over to it. I am coming, she grumbled. She changed into carrying a violet nightgown and slippers that fairly complemented her hair. I swear if it truly is Yamcha, I am going to offer that fool a bit of my mind. Bulma opened the door to see a person even more traumatic than her unreliable boyfriend. It changed into the bald priest from yesterday, Cherry. For a few reasons, he changed into blanketed in faint scorch marks and changed into wearing barely tattered clothing. He with courtesy bowed in the front of her and said, Suitable morning to you, Amit. I desire to speak with you approximately a few horrific luck that can befall your. She proceeded to slam the dew in his face and stroll back to her room. She became not inside the mood to cope with that priestess antics mood right now, or another factor. If whatever, she did choose to by no means see his ordinary searching face ever once more. Regrettably, destiny had different plans. He simply endured knocking at the door once more till she did listen him out. Bulma pinched the bridge of her nose and swung the door again open. What part of Drop Dead did you not recognize? I am afraid it will take lots more than a simple kick to hold me away, Ms. Bulma. As I cited before, I am attracted to the forces of evil and awful good fortune on this international. It's why I can't leave your family and residence unattended. Cherry stated. Misfortune is sure to come back wherever your buddy, Son Goku, is going, I worry. Bulma leaned against the aspect of the door and crossed her fingers. Goku. What does any of this must do with him? Cherry blankly stared at the woman with squinted, half-of-lidded eyes. In case you let me interior, I'll explain everything to you, him, and your parents. The younger inventor looked outside in clear reluctance. She could tell it become going to typhoon any time soon, so, even though tempting, it wouldn't be proper to kick this guy to the decrease so. You are no longer gonna leave until I say yes, aren't you? What do you believe you studied? They awkwardly stared each different down till Bulma caved in and motioned for him to come back interior. You better make this short. This is depending on our respective fates, expensive girl. Whatever, she snorted in reply. Wake up, guys. We've a UG visitor who desires to inform us something. In the span of a few moments, Dr. Brief, Panchi, and Goku all entered the kitchen. The latter turned into sporting his orange martial arts GI over again. A guest? Did they carry a few meals? I am ravenous. Bulma rolled her eyes. No, Goku. He failed to convey any food. We'll have a few breakfast after we are carried out here. The spiky-haired man frowned. Bet I will wait a touch bit then. Panchi soothingly patted him on the shoulder and smiled. No need to fear, dear. I'll cook up something proper in a couple of minutes. Or, proper. Thanks, Mrs. Quick. He beamed. While Panchi started making a few food inside the kitchen, Goku took a look at Bulma's aforementioned visitor. He diagnosed his face nearly straight away. Wait, isn't always that the one bald dude who interrupted my and Chi-Chi's wedding the previous day? Alas. Bulma glowered. Cherry crossed his legs and sat down on the floor. Dr. Brief, in the meantime, took a seat and started studying from his newspaper without an awful lot interest in what was occurring. Permit me to correctly introduce myself. My call is Sakurambu, or excessive priest. Bulma thought the call turned into just as ugly as the person himself. HMPH. More like a deranged priest that's what my call manner, yes, however I choose to be referred to as Cherry, omit. Please do hold that during thoughts. Nicely, Cherry, do you thoughts telling us what exactly is going to show up with Goku? The blue-haired lady requested impatiently. Goku pointed at himself in marvel. Huh, this has something to do with me. Correct. Your body is vulnerable to ownership by way of evil spirits. Cherry affirmed. Evil spirits? Are they pretty strong? In all likelihood. In case you don't heed my warnings, son Goku, they may be capable of take over you like some form of malevolent parasite or, worse, an invader. Goku stroked his chin in concept. He couldn't in reality recognize what the dwarfish priest turned into relating to. Now not certain what malevolent method, however I do not think I have met something like that but. Do you know what those evil spirit thingies seem like? All at once, a bolt of lightning struck through the ceiling and caused Lum to materialize within the building. She changed into accompanied by using 10, who did not exactly look all that wakeful, however turned into still particularly up and approximately, although. Lum quickly floated over to where Goku became status and gave him a big hug. Appropriate morning, darling. Did you sleep well? I bet. The Z fighter answered with a shrug. 10 wasted no time in floating over to Bulma and her mother. He grinned and cutely waved at them. Morning, warm babes I mean, Bulma and Panchi. Hee. Dr. Brief quickly set his paper right down to cope with the Oni toddler. What about me? 10 deadpanned. He sincerely forgot that the vintage scientist even existed. What approximately you? Taking the hint, He sighed and persisted, analyzing from the newspaper. I swear, no admire for the elderly in recent times. Seeing the two aliens up near and private like this, Cherry, in a crazed nation of hysterics, accusatively pointed his finger at them. There. It's them. Your life has been jeopardized by way of an invader, Lum. He shouted. You will absolutely face your doom together with her round. Mark my words. Lum glared at the short priest in annoyance. Excuse me. I am no longer jeopardizing whatever. I love Goku and simplest wish to make him happy. She then clung to Goku's side and suggestively batted her eyelashes at him. Proper, darling. Sure, Lum. He nervously chuckled. Ten interestingly floated over to Cherry and inspected his as a substitute unattractive body. He should even see his mirrored image through the priestess' bald head. What even are you, mister? A few kind of dwelling toenail. Cherry gasped. How impolite. Here I am trying to cleanse the poor guy's soul of this alien temptress, and all I am getting in go back is disrespect. A boy your age should be ashamed. Ugh. You be ashamed for talking that manner approximately, Lum, idiot. Ten growled. He then took a deep breath and blasted a move of fireplace at Cherry's face. The person became completely covered in flames, an awful lot to anyone's collective horror. Whoa, relax there, child. You gonna get us convicted for manslaughter right here, Bulma yelped. Bulma's proper, 10. What within the global have been you thinking? He coughed out a small puff of smoke and innocently placed each arms at the back of his lower back. Sorry, a big bolt of lightning then struck the house and prompted all of its electrical additives to end operation. Even inside the morning, it became now almost absolutely darkish. Oh man. All the lighting went out, Goku muttered. See? I informed you so. This is direct proof that something evil is coming near. You ought to run even as you continue to have the chance, Cherry warned them. Bulma did no longer appearance all that satisfied by his baseless ramblings. Severely. It is a brief blackout. There is nothing to run from, she snorted. She then opened the front door and almost shoved him closer to it. Now, if that is all you desired to mention, I propose you go away and cross back to any place you came from. We've some more critical things to worry approximately right now. Like ingesting breakfast, stated Goku in a hopeful tone. Lum may want a most effective chuckle at the overly keen tone in his voice. Nicely, I was specially regarding turning on our backup generator, but yeah, this is one in every of them. However, before Cherry should say any other word, Bulma all at once slammed the door in his face yet again. My, what a strange guy. Punchi commented. Tell me about it. Permit us wish and pray that he does not decide to come returned. Humorous thinking about he is a priest and all, Dr. Quick chuckled. Alleged priest, Dad. At the same time as she went to turn the lighting returned on, Cherry stood outside, completely dumbfounded. The rain poured down on him as he usual defeat and walked away. Elements of his frame were still scorched by way of Ten's fire breath, however in spite of the searing pain, he didn't pay a lot interest to it. How terrible, they may be all cursed. Each unmarried one in all them, he hissed, cupping his fingers collectively in a signal of prayer. 'Tis their shared fates now, they have got my pity. Cherry then commenced strolling, returned to Timabiki or anywhere he determined to become that day. Someplace in West Town. Chi turned into now hellbent on keeping Lum's grubby little fingers far away from Goku. Upon waking up, she took off her mother's wedding ceremony dress, put on her blue-crimson martial arts GI, and flew over to West Town on Nimbus. Normally, she would have used her father's automobile to get there, but the flying Nimbus genuinely made the experience cross with the aid of lots faster. She simply hoped that Goku become all right with her borrowing it in the meanwhile. In the meantime, Chi changed into taking walks over to Pill Corp with a raging fire in her black eyes. She changed into a little shocked with the aid of the large thunderstorm taking place, but that wasn't sufficient to forestall her from seeing Goku. Even without an umbrella, she kept shifting with a particularly confident spring in her step. I am coming, Goku. No longer even a hurricane like this will maintain me far away from you, Chi whispered. She then tightly clenched her fists in newfound rage. I am not gonna permit that green-haired bimbo win. Fire Mountain S princess continued walking along the sidewalk till, all of her unexpected, she noticed something fall from the sky. She stopped in vicinity to get a higher study it. What is that? Descending from the higher atmosphere changed into an orange and inexperienced spacecraft included in black stripes. Pillars of smoke trailed from its damaged thrusters because the deliver crashed into the ground and shattered into a couple of pieces. It landed a few feet far from in which Chi-Chi changed into status, a great deal to her interest. HMPH. If only that had been Lum's alien craft. She approached the spacecraft and noticed a lone discern fall out of the cockpit. It turned into a teenaged boy with inexperienced hair, yellow horns, and an orange jumpsuit blanketed with black stripes. He would possibly as well were carrying an entire tiger. RUO-K. In preference to solution, the boy stood up straight and checked out Chi-Chi. There was a faint sparkle in his blue eyes that brought about her to blush. Wow, he is so handsome. She concept. I suggest, he has nonetheless nothing in comparison to Goku, however still. Chi-Chi tried to preserve her flushed cheeks under manage and said, "Do you want assist in any respect?" That gave the look of a pretty nasty crash. All over again, he stated not anything in reply. He simply limped over to Chi-Chi and grabbed a hold of her fingers. This triggered Chi-Chi to turn out to be even more embarrassed. "You are my flattered and all, but I are form of have someone who I want to." Lum. Chi-Chi blinked sometimes in surprise. His voice changed into so deep that she simply slightly controlled to seize what he said. "Wait, did you just say, Lum? You know her?" The boy let pass of her hands and nodded. This revelation prompted Chi-Chi to grin deviously. "That is perfect. If Lum and this random good-looking man, who I expect is another member of her race, hit it off, then Goku might be all mine once more. We is probably capable of resume our wedding, in the end." She then cleared her throat and smiled at the Oni boy in a much greater courteous manner. He, on the other hand, maintained the identical stoic facial features. "I will bring you to her then. Comply with me." The two then headed over to Tablet Corp immediately. Chi-Chi did not word, but for a cut-up second, the boy's horns and face commenced to contort in something greater sizable the moment he started out getting enthusiastic about seeing Lum once more. Returned at Pill Corp with the electricity up and going for walks again, anyone, Bulma included, sat down and had a few breakfast together. Panchi attempted her fine to cook dinner as a lot meals as possible. However, Goku's stomach, as usually, become quite difficult to fulfill. He already managed to scarf down half of the meal after a couple of minutes or so. Ten failed to precisely recognize a way to react to the bloodbath that came about in the front of him. He continually heard of how surprising Saiyan appetites could be. However, Goku's surpassed any previous expectations he may have had. "Yeesh. If I ate that much, I might possibly explode." "Well, you are nonetheless only a little one, 10. Darling's stomach might be simply as massive as you." He, Lum joked. "I wouldn't cross that a ways, but what's up, you may be right." Goku chuckled even as stuffing a few scrambled eggs in his mouth. Bulma rested a hand on her cheek and sighed. "At the least you stored a few for the relaxation people this time." "Oh, do not be so difficult on him, expensive. Goku's a growing boy. It takes a lot more to meet him than others," Panchi stated. "Especially in terms of combating. That is his second love proper there," Dr. Short added. "Oh, and what might you say is your one-third love, darling?" Lum purred mischievously. She leaned near Goku and touched his chest. "You could inform me." Snoozing, Bulma quipped. The Oni princess's expression soured straight away. "Manner to ruin the temper, Bulma. Simply telling you like it miles. Goku likes to sleep, devour, and combat. The whole thing else in his life quite tons comes second to those matters." "Even ladies?" Ten asked. Bulma had to forestall herself from giggling out loud. This child virtually had a lot left to find out about Goku and their little institution in general. "Youngster, have you met him? He does not have a romantic bone in his body." Goku obliviously tilted his head to the aspect. "Romantic bone? Is that something I ought to have?" "Case in point." Bulma snickered. Lum crossed her arms and nodded in begrudging settlement. "You are right. Darling may not be romantic now, however there may be still time for him to analyze. He just desires a beautiful, affectionate lady by using his aspect who can manual him inside the ways of affection and preference, she proclaimed while resting a hand on her chest, and that I, as his fiancé and future spouse, can do simply that. Proper. I am certain Chi-Chi could say the same aspect. Who is that? Ten wondered. The front door then seemingly swung open on its very own. Standing there has been none apart from Chi-Chi with an innocent, yet cheeky grin on her face. Morning, all people. Lum was not happy to see her in any respect. She wrapped her hands around Goku's body high quality and tight, so he would not be capable of greet his former fiancé. Nicely, communicate of the devil. We have been just talking approximately you. Bulma said. How are you feeling, Chi-Chi? I am doing okay. I was a touch dissatisfied approximately what came about the day before today, of path, but my dad helped cheer me up. She then narrowed her eyes and ever so barely sneered on the Oni princess. Although, I do have a few desirable news. I surely observed a person who has been that means to speak with you, Lum. I am certain you may be simply overjoyed to look him once more. Chi-Chi then stepped to the facet and unveiled Lum's meant friend. His presence straight away brought about her eyes to widen from absolute surprise. R.A. Lum. With that, all hell proceeded to break free. Lum let go of Goku's arm in a state of panic and ran all over the house to get away from Rei. The tiger-striped Oni, however, became persistent in his fierce pursuit of her. All people watched as they went from one side of the room to every other. Chi-Chi took this possibility to sit down next to Goku and communicate with him. Lum failed to reason you an excessive amount of trouble, did she? Now not definitely. I just confirmed her round pill corp and met her little cousin, Ten. Goku answered. He then pointed over to the small Oni floating beside them. This is him, by means of the manner. Ah, I see. Howdy there. Chi-Chi greeted with a small wave of her hand. Hi. You re very pretty, pass over, Ten chirped. Ah, thank you. You're a little charmer, I see. Yup. I am an amazing boy. Goku's eyes darted from Rei to Lum and returned. Judging by means of her facial expressions, he ought to tell she did not like this man one bit. Speaking of which, do you recognize what this Rei dude's relation to Lum is? He requested. He is her former fiancé. They had been engaged a few months earlier than you had that tag recreation with each other, Ten explained. This records thrilled Chi-Chi substantially, but she didn't allow it display on her face. She maintained her impartial expression and nodded. A few months. Any reason why they broke up? Something approximately him being conceited and simplest inquisitive about food. I do not don't forget the exact information, Ten responded. Properly, regardless of the cause, it must have no longer been mutual. Bulma, Punchi, and Dr. Brief ought to only watch as the entirety of their domestic become toppled everywhere in the vicinity. Irrespective of what they tried to say or do, Lum persisted running far from Rei just like the plague. I am not going lower back with you, Rei. Depart me be, she screeched. Depart, depart, leave. Lum. Rei. Leave. Depart. I hate you. Starting to turn out to be determined, Lum locked eyes with Goku and hid at the back of him. Darling. Knock that creep-ass lighting fixtures out for me, all right, please. I do not know, Lum. He does not really seem all that strong to me, the martial artist mumbled. Lum sniffled and stared at Goku together with her big, watery blue eyes. But he is trying to take me far from you. Do not you care approximately that, darling? In spite of everything that we have shared collectively. Chi-Chi deadpanned. It has been a day so. It has greater than sufficient time to recognize that I love darling and not that gluttonous weirdo. Are you sure? Now not seeking to sound too materialistic here, but the guy is quite damn good looking. Any lady would sense fortunate to be with a guy like that. Upon announcing that, Rei stood in the front of Bulma and boldly kissed one of her hands. This brought about her to appearance away and start giggling like a schoolgirl. Hee. Oh, yeah. Very, very lucky. Do not you have got a boyfriend? Ten reminded her. Remembering her troubles with Yamcha, she narrowed her eyes and growled at the alien infant. Why yes, I am privy to that. Is it wrong for a female to like feeling wanted sometimes, huh? 10 blanketed his ears and grimaced. Geez, woman. No one to bite my head off. He stated, you re the only who was turning as crimson as a tomato. Oh, close up already. Bulma growled. She then sat back off and attempted her fine appearance away from Ray. Awful brat telling me what I am able to and can sense. Ray himself then sat down and proceeded to stare at Lum. She upturned her nose, pretending he wasn't there. Look, he appears to recognize the way to treat women nicely, so why do not you just cross lower back in your planet? You need to be together with your very own kind. Chi-Chi counseled. Nope. I refuse. Lum snapped. He will become something weird and unsightly on every occasion he receives excited. I dealt with it once and I am no longer handling it for the relaxation of my lifestyles. She then frowned and began to study Goku with determined, pleading eyes. I need darling rather. She pounced on Goku and dispatched him flying out of his seat. They were now lying at the ground with Lum suggestively resting her body atop the Saiyan's chest. Whoa, settle down there, Lum. You could have hurt yourself. Goku yelped. I don't care. All I want is to be with the aid of your facet and no else. Seeing Lum in such an intimate function with Goku enraged Ray to the point in which he began, as Lum warned, transforming into something weird and gruesome. His horns grew just a tad bit longer and his enamel have become sharper. See, his real self is coming out, so what if he turns into some monster from time to time? Absolutely everyone in a courting isn't always perfect, Chi-Chi shouted. Examine Goku, or your so-called darling, as an example. I like him dearly, but he is both dumb and thick as a brick. Even though extremely accurate, Goku still felt a touch indignant by using Chi-Chi's statement. What's up, no longer proper. I can be quite smart in which it counts. Exactly. And Ray isn't smart when it comes to anything. Lum agreed. At the least darling has without a doubt made something of himself. 10 floated near Ray's ear and whispered, she's got you there. Even Ray himself couldn't argue towards this. He used all the cash he had just to get right here, in the end. Aha! He even admits it. He hasn't modified at all. Lum screamed as she again and again slammed her fists on the desk in frustration. No manner can I stand the sort of cheesy guy. No manner. No way. She then embraced Goku once more and smiled pleasurably from ear to ear. I wanna live here with darling. Chi-Chi was now struggling to contain her anger. She dug her fingernails into the desk and dragged them downward. Ugh. If you recognize what is appropriate for you, you'll forestall hugging him so tightly, bitch. If exact seems sufficient for someone like Bulma, they have to be top sufficient for you. Ugh. Don't drag me into this. Dr. Short blew out some smoke from his cigarette and said, if the shoe suits, dear. Bulma narrowed her eyes and glared on the antique scientist. Simply close up and hold reading your paper, Dad. Will do. In spite of Chi-Chi's protests, Lum changed into adamant in professing her emotions for Goku. She shook her head, inflicting her lengthy inexperienced hair to sway back and forth. No, no, no. Proper looks will never be enough. Sincerely no way. Then why now not have Ray and Goku duel each different? We will be capable of see who is clearly better than the other. 10 advised. It will assist settle things an awful lot faster. Ray nodded and brought out a few sort of extraterrestrial weapon from his pocket. He then aimed it at once at Goku. Gun. I will take that as a yes then. Bulma said. I bet I will take delivery of that project. However, what is going to this duel be like anyway? Only a combat or something else? We do have lots of meals left over, so why no longer an ingesting contest for the primary round? You probably did say Ray become a glutton, proper, dear, Punchi requested. Lum glanced at her former fiancé. His mouth changed into starting to salivate just through searching at the meals Mrs. Quick made. Yes. A greedy one too. She glowered. Then he will be extra than a match for someone like Goku. I'll set up bowls of steamed sweet potatoes for the two of them. Punchi presented. The primary one to complete them, wins. Sounds appropriate. Goku gave her a thumbs up. Yep. I do not have a problem with that, Mrs. Brief. Ray, in assessment, stared on the blonde woman and nodded. This brought on a deep purple flush to enhance her cheeks. Teehee. How embarrassing. Do not look at me like that, please, Panchi squealed. Dr. Quick rolled his eyes. Like mother, like daughter. After a couple of minutes of cautious coaching, 2 bowls of steamed potatoes have been set in front of Goku and Ray respectively. They sat across from every different whilst absolutely everyone else stood off to the facet. You do understand that Goku's going to win this easily, right? Bulma asked. Of path. I wouldn't expect whatever much less from my darling, Lum beamed. Chi-Chi snorted. I assume you intended to say my Goku. Lum narrowed her eyes and condescendingly winked at Half Mountain-S Princess. Preserve telling yourself that, homewrecker. What did you simply call me, you? Their bickering changed into interrupted by Panchi's status in among each competition. She appeared from Goku to Ray before elevating 3 of her arms. Alrighty, boys. You may start consuming in 3, 2, 1, she said whilst counting all the way down to 0, now. The 2 munched on 1 potato after some other in short succession. Goku had a fairly content, jolly look on his FCE whilst Ray, oddly sufficient, was getting quite emotional. Tears were slowly falling from his eyes the extra he ate. Wow. Is Ray commonly at risk of being this sensitive? Chi-Chi asked. Lum facepalmed and stated, no, he has crying tears of pleasure because the potatoes taste so right. Aha. Ray affirmed as he chewed and swallowed 1 potato after any other. But, earlier than he should even get near completing the complete bowl, Goku used his key abilities to choose up the pace and finish all of his potatoes with relative ease. Man, that changed into exact. You thoughts if I end your bowl, Ray? Ray become taken aback speechless. This guy now not handiest stole the girl he loved, however additionally deliberate on stealing his bowl of scrumptious potatoes. He couldn't stand this stage of humiliation to any extent further. From his angle, Goku had to be taken down and removed at all charges. He exponentially grew in length and tore through his tiger paws and skin jumpsuit. Within seconds, he became now a massive, bulky Ashitora, or cow tiger, with massive orange ears, black stripes, and lengthy yellow horns. He also had a black hairy tail that burst forth from his bottom. And the primary round is going to Panchi gasped on the sight of Ray's transformation. Oh my. Rayu. MIAOH. Ray endured to develop larger and large until he burst forth from Capsule Corp's roof, causing all styles of belongings harm that made 10's arrival appear like infant's play. I am able to see what you imply approximately the transformation now, Chi-Chi gulped. Advised you. With the house now caving in on itself, Goku, Lum, 10, Chi-Chi, and the others all ran outside. Lightning endured to flash within the background as Ray roared and organized to move on a rampage for the duration of West City. Goku didn't appearance concerned in any respect, however, he turned into excited to look what Ray's new shape become able to. No longer bad. Permit-s get round of our duel began, Ray. He cracked his knuckles and flew toward the transformed Ashitora. Lum clapped her palms collectively in exhilaration. Yes, darling. Fight to guard me. Protect you from what? He may also appearance massive, ugly, and threatening, but I doubt he's all that sturdy, Chi-Chi pointed out. Authentic, however I do not suppose Ray is aware of how strong Goku is, 10 stated. MRAOH. Ray swiped his fingers and tail at Goku, however none of those attacks regarded speedy enough to hit him. He in reality flew from one point inside the sky to any other. Because the Oni turned into blinded by using rage and jealousy in the meanwhile, Goku truly failed to get plenty pride out of dueling him like this. He sighed and tried to consider what he could do in this case. Desire I am able to maintain again sufficient not to harm him too horrific. Perhaps a small punch need to be properly sufficient. RAOH. This time, Goku effect stopped one of Ray's paws in place. He smirked and balled certainly one of his fingers right into a fist. Now it's my flip. He then pulled back his arm and unexpectedly punched Ray inside the stomach. Unluckily, due to Goku's substantial energy, the negative Ushitora changed into scent flying into the remote horizon and might travel miles upon miles of distance before he'd even begin to land anywhere. MRAOH. The best hint of him left become now a small star-like twinkle in the sky. Useless to mention, Ray likely wasn't he going to come back for some time. Oops. Goku sheepishly gulped. Guess Ray became lots weaker than I notion. Dr. Quick sympathetically seemed up at the sky and smoked his cigarette. Terrible boy. He actually had no idea what he was up in opposition to. Goku then landed in the front of both Lum and Chi-Chi. They each proceeded to give him a huge hug. You won, darling. I knew you would protect me from Ray, Lum cried. The black-haired lady more or less pulled Goku far away from her and snarled. You didn't want to be included in any respect. Goku gained the duel for himself, no longer you. An irritated Lum attempted to convey Goku lower back to her. Oh, is that so? You re just jealous, because this entire state of affairs had not anything to do with you. Goku sighed and attempted his high quality to break out of the duo's death grips. Come on, men. Can't you simply be satisfactory to each other and prevent arguing? No. They endured yanking Goku in a tug-of-warfare motion while Ten watched them from the sidelines. He rested to surrender his chin and idea over the promise he made to Lum yesterday night. Welp, that settles it. Goku is maximum virtually a Saiyan. He concept. A good one too. Failed to assume one could ever exist before now. Rapidly afterwards, Bulma broke up the three of them and directed their interest to the absolutely destroyed tablet Enterprise constructing. As a lot as I enjoy seeing you three bicker like this, we've greater urgent subjects to attend to. Like solving the massive freaking hole inside the roof that your ex-fiancé made, Lum. How became I imagined to recognize he could transform indoors? I should not be held accountable for that. It's no longer honest. Lum insisted. She then pointed a finger at Chi-Chi. None of this will have took place if she did not deliver him here. You were blaming me for this. He came right here seeking out you, bear in mind. HMPH. Sounds to me like something a guilty man or woman could say. They proceeded to glare daggers at one another even as Goku, as usually, stood inside the center of all of it. He seemed over at the roof in slight guilt. You need me to assist repair the roof, Bulma. That'd be incredible, Goku. It would take the complete rest of the day, though. You all right with that? Goku shrugged. I've not anything better to do, so why now not? I could use it for some greater weight or something. At the point out of Goku repairing Tablet Corp's roof, Lum and Chi-Chi swooped in to offer their assistance. I will assist too, darling. No, I am able to. No, butt out. Lum then latched onto Goku's again like some kind of humanoid spider monkey and confirmed off her fangs. No. Go away me and darling on my own. Strength powerfully surged out of Lum's frame, electrocuting Goku, Chi-Chi, Ten, and anyone close by within the system. They spasmed about from sheer ache and, sarcastically, surprise. Gwa. While the shockwave dispersed, the complete institution, other than Lum, all collapsed onto the floor in minor soreness. Including similarly insult to injury was the reality that Pill Corp's building got even more damaged than before. It turned into sprinkled with all types of holes and scorch marks. I am beginning to think that Cherry absolutely had a factor approximately those evil spirits, Bulma grumbled. They virtually had a few paintings to do now. And with Lum round, that they had need to discover methods to mitigate the harm as plenty as viable. The end. Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel for more.